Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, you got Perloff. You don't have Maggie today. Welcome to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Maggie is out, but I am so psyched, excited, thrilled to have Andrew Bogusch here for one reason. He is a New York Giants fan, and they have signed Russell Wilson. And to me, this is not just the funniest quarterback room in the NFL. It's the funniest quarterback room in NFL history. You got Jameis Winston. You got Russell Wilson. You got Thomas DeVito. I mean,
you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a quarterback. Let's go.
Let's add Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, let's add Shedeur Sanders to number 3 overall.
Or Jackson Dart. Bringing them all. You're all the price is right. Let's go.
Are you
Giants country? Let's ride.
Let me phrase the question this way: how can you possibly be excited about signing Russell Wilson at high backup money? Basically, you're investing about $15 million next year in Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, and you don't even have a catchphrase from Russ yet. It is, and I don't know if you're going to be able to come up with one. I've jotted down some ideas for later in the show.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
But I don't know that this is going to help you basically change the course of the last 10 years, which has been bad in New York.
Well, therein lies the answer as to why I'm excited by this, because the last 10 years in New York have been a disaster, and that quarterback position in particular has been shameful, embarrassing, soul-crushing, and somehow Russell Wilson is an exponentially better option than the people that played the position last year. So let's ride.
Well, how is he better? I understand last year was a disaster, but is he good enough with this team around him to be better, say, than he was down the stretch in Pittsburgh or than he was in Denver? Or is he just, at this point of his career, sort of a middling guy who needs a great team around him to do anything?
Next question.
I just and okay, let's say
no. I mean, listen. I understand all of the problems, and I am not. There are only a handful of teams, maybe one other, that I would advocate signing Russell Wilson and or Aaron Rodgers at this point. But the Giants are on that list because I can't do this again, and this opens up to a whole new set of problems. I get that. I think I've self-diagnosed myself with was it Stockholm syndrome? Like the Giants are my keeper. They have kept me prisoner, and now I think they're the smartest people in the world. The table is turned.
Well, that's ridiculous.
And this is just better. It's just better. It is not great. It is not the long-term solution. It might not be the solution as of December 1st of this year, but this is better than it was. And for a second, I can relax. And also, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but this does not change my hope, and I assume their plan, to pick a quarterback in this draft. I don't think it's going to be Shedeur at number 3, but maybe it's somebody else later in the first round, early in the second. I keep mentioning Jackson Dart. He's my guy. He's the next quarterback to get off this list. I don't know anymore where his landing spot is currently in terms of just overall draft space, but Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and $15 million guaranteed dollars does not take them out of the rookie quarterback market. So let's go. Let's ride.
Okay, let's play this out then. If they don't take Shedeur Sanders, assume Cam Ward, the Miami quarterback, goes number 1 in the Titans.
Yeah.
Abdul Carter goes number 2 to the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
Your Giants are going to pass on Shedeur Sanders despite 90% of mock drafts having Shedeur going to Big Blue.
Yeah.
And who are you taking?
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter. Okay.
Let's go.
So
Let's ride.
Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston throwing to Travis Hunter and Malik Neighbors.
Yes.
What is your future at the quarterback? And okay, so you're taking Tyler Shuck in the second round, or Quinn Ewers, or Jalen Milroe, or somebody who is a second round talent.
I don't know if all of them would be my preference. I'm particularly intrigued by Jackson Dart. So
he ain't going to be there in the second round.
Well, I understand. So do they need to come back into the late teens, early 20s? Do they need to maybe just even move back a couple of steps and gain an asset and take him at 8 or 9 or 10? I don't know. But Like, I'm okay with them not drafting Shedeur Sanders. And I've been on this from the beginning. You and I had all-fair conversations. I was all in on Matthew Stafford. Trade for him, $50 million for a year. Draft somebody else later in the draft. Use number 3 on a high-end, actual non-quarterback, whether it was Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter or anybody else that came along at that point, who was worthy of the third pick. So this has been my idea for them the entire offseason. Is to find a bridge guy, because Shedeur spooks me a little bit. And not even anymore about like Dion and off-field stuff and whatever. I just don't know how good he is anymore, or I don't know how much better he is, Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter and Jackson Dart. I want plan B. I want that second option. I don't think there's a big enough gap between Shedeur and Jackson Dart to have to take Shedeur at number 3.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, and it's perfect logic. I think that's a little bit of bogus logic, because I do think there's another camp who thinks Shedeur is above the rest of the field. And I think there's a good chance they take him at number 3. I mean,
and they might.
Now,
they might be right about it, and that'd be great too.
Tell me what happens if you have Shedeur is 23. He's much like Jaden Daniels. He's ready to go. You can't really sit him for an entire season. So do you do what the Giants did back in, I think it was 06 or 05? Or actually, it must have been 04.
Maybe
when
you
they
remember
had
that, right?
Kurt Warner
Yes.
was the starter.
Yes.
I was there.
Played him 7 or 8 games.
Yeah.
And then sat him for Eli. Is that what Russ is possibly looking at with either a Shedeur Sanders or a Jackson Dart? Because I do agree. I think they're going to draft a quarterback. I think it's more likely to be Shedeur, but they'd love to get Jackson Dart later on. If they have that rookie quarterback, to me, then Russ is setting himself up for a very, very difficult bridge position to get out of, in the sense that he might start week 1, but that will not last.
No, and it's only $10 million guaranteed. Like, that's not a lot of money. That's not a commitment to Russell Wilson being your guy for the entire season. Maybe they've been honest with Russ. Maybe Russ knows what the deal is. Maybe Russ is okay with it at this point. And maybe Russ knows that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Steeler, so this was his only other option. It looks like he picked the Giants over Pittsburgh, but we actually don't know if Pittsburgh was an option.
Pittsburgh's waiting for Rodgers.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, this might have been really his only job.
Yep.
So he's got to do whatever they want to do. And that might be Shedeur, and that might mean Russ never starts for the Giants, and it might mean that Jameis never is a Giant on an active roster in week 1, because they can cut Jameis Winston if they want to after drafting a rookie quarterback.
New York's going to not like Russell Wilson. I'll tell you that right now. Unless the team is 6-0, they are going to have a lot of problems with this guy's personality, because I like Russ personally. I've kind of known or been around him a long time. He used to come on DP show all the time, even going back to Wisconsin. The issue with Russ is he doesn't come off as authentic. And I think New York, I think the callers to our sister station, WFAN, they want sort of a man's man. They're probably going to be calling for Tommy DeVito, or they'll be calling for Jameis, who is a big personality. It just doesn't feel like a natural fit to me.
I was all about the beefcake, boys.
Yeah, yeah, I just... somebody, a local host, said to me, I don't know if he's enough of a man's man, which made me laugh. I just think it's a funny fit to me, Russell Wilson, and that's why I think he is nothing more than a bridge quarterback here.
Oh, I mean, that he's on a 1-year contract. No matter what, like, he's not going to be here in 2026. It's just what he does in between now and then that changes things. And the only thing that would really matter here is how he plays. If he plays well and they're a competitive football team, and he's not wetting himself and getting sacked 18 times a game, then the cheesy Russ stuff is less annoying.
You know what the problem on the field, and you saw it in Pittsburgh, to me, there were a lot of opportunities for Russ to run, and his wheels have fallen off so badly. There would be 10 yards to take, and he would get 6 out of it, where Justin Fields in Pittsburgh would have gotten to 10 yards. I think the best year that Daboll had in New York was when Daniel Jones was running like crazy. And Daniel Jones
and he had Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, but I think as an Eagles fan, I'll tell you the bigger problem was Daniel Jones running for first downs. And the problem with Russ is he really can't do that. That was probably his best skill in Seattle. And come fourth quarter, you could not stop Russell Wilson on the ground. Now you really can. So that's another thing that worries me. I'm not sure this offense is going to be fully formed with him there. I think he will start week 1, even if they draft someone. And I think this is a tough spot for Russ.
If they draft Shedeur, I don't know that Russ starts week 1. If they draft anybody else, then Russ probably starts week 1. But Shador at number 3 probably is their starter from the second he's drafted.
I was going back to Kurt Warner, Eli. Eli was number 1 overall. I know it was a different year.
Different times, too, different thought processes.
But the Giants are always trying to recreate the past. They're trying to create the glory days, which is why, in my mind, hey, let's talk about it, because I think it's an issue that's out there with the Titans and the Giants. Are there possible they're waiting for Arch Manning next year and they just pass on a quarterback altogether? This move would indicate that's an option.
I mean, I think it's on the table, but again, you're asking me to go down a path that we've been doing for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and the Giants seem incapable of actually finishing off the job. This should have been settled by now. They've now twice, back-to-back years, they have screwed this up. They were in position. They had control of their destiny to at the very least have either Jaden Daniels 2 years ago or be sitting right now at number 1 geeking out over Cam Ward's pro day going, that's our guy. We're done. This could be over.
Wow, Jaden Daniels.
But they can't do it. So you're like, sure, let's tank for Arch. Absolutely. But the Giants seem incapable of actually accomplishing that. So I have zero trust that they could get there. Plus, you don't know. One win might be too many next year for Arch Manning. So I think while you can't rule it out, they wouldn't have signed Jameis and Russ if they wanted to do that.
Yeah. Also, to me, this says they're not going to trade up to number 1 this year for Cam Ward. I thought that might still. Well, I mean, there are a lot of insiders who say that's still on the table.
Oh, and now the Titans are talking a good game because Cam threw well to air and no defenses, and the price just went up.
I think the Titans are eyeing that number 1 pick for the Giants next year, and I don't think the Giants want to give it up. Probably the same with the Browns. I do think that Cam Ward would be a better fit than Shador Sanders for the Giants right now. I just think he's just a little better quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Jackson Dart, it's interesting. A lot of people think the Jets are interested in him and the Saints are interested in him. So that's 7 and 9. So the Giants might not be able to afford to wait on him.
And that's the problem with my overall plan is that when Matthew Stafford was in flux, Jackson Dart was on the board at the beginning of the second round, and now he has slowly crept into the back of the first round. And now there are these reports and these links, and we're coming off a year where all of a sudden we had Penix, Bo Nix, and J.J. McCarthy relatively out of nowhere go 8, 10, and 11, 8, 11, and 12. We're probably going to get to a place where Jackson Dart is going to be a top 10 pick, even though he's technically not worthy of that. So my idea of what the Giants flipping it here and using 3 on somebody else and coming back for him is only gets harder by the day to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they may have to, air quotes, not begrudgingly, but have to take Shador at 3 to make sure they leave this draft
with a quarterback,
with a future quarterback.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I'm I think a little higher on Shador than you. I would take Shador over Jackson Dart any day of the week. But
yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
You can't take Jackson Dart at 3 ahead of Shador Sanders. But if somebody wants to pay for 3 to get to Shador and you move back where Dart is still in your reach, I think that's okay too.
Well, Jackson Dart will move up. I'm telling you right now, last year, Michael Penix was not considered a first rounder. He was considered a second rounder, went number 8. Last year, Bo Nix entered the draft process as a second rounder, went pick 12.
And there were people.
And J.J. McCarthy, too, moved up. It happens.
And there were Giant beat guys yesterday flushing this all out, talking about how the draft works. And they were saying that only Sean Payton was going to take Bo Nix where Bo Nix was taken. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how off the board and surprising the Penix Nix picks might have been in that scenario.
Yeah, which I never understood. I mean, did people watch Michael Penix? I know he was old and injury prone, but Tyler Shuck is possibly a first rounder. He's 25.
I think the concern were his knees, right? I mean, that was the problem with Penix.
Have we heard anything about those?
No, but it's only 1 year.
Yeah, and Bo Nix too. I think if you put Bo Nix into this mix, I think he's probably would have gone higher than Jackson Dart. I don't know about him and Shador. That would have been close. There are people that say Cam Ward would have been the 7th quarterback taken last year. You see, the problem with one thing about Cam Ward and Shador, they're not tall. They're 6'1" and a half, which is not a guarantee to go top 3. All right, do you like Russ Wilson to the Giants? Do you even think that he's going to be the starter there. Bogus is not so sure if a rookie comes in. Give us a call, 888-710-4ISN.
Mr. Unlimited.
That's 888-710-4476. You want a sneak peek of some of my Russ expressions?
Be careful,
Please.
though.
So
It's spicy.
I didn't even know this. I was looking this up last night. He had one in Pittsburgh that I don't think ever caught fire. It was called Win the Seventh.
I think I vaguely remember that.
Okay. Let's Ride, obviously, was an ironic way to insult Russ after Denver. Let's Blue? I don't know what that means.
No, that's no.
Whoa.
Yeah, easy.
Let's Go Blue?
What is that?
I don't
That's
know.
first grade.
Well,
They already do that.
how about Giant Up? I don't know what it means. This is going to be hard.
These are your best ones?
No, it's just a sneak peek.
Oh, okay.
This
Thanks.
is a sneak peek.
Not a good tease for the
It's
rest
hard
of the
because,
list.
like, what do giants do? Let's stomp around and be giant.
Well, you got to put yourself in Russ's shoes here. So, like, like Broncos Let's Ride, I think was like a cowboy, like, so like he's going to.
Broncos country, let's ride.
He's going to put himself in like Jersey, New York mode. So he may give you like a Tommy DeVito hand signal. He might give you a bad Sopranos accent.
Russell Wilson is not giving you a Tommy DeVito.
He became
Paisan.
a cowboy in Denver.
Do you think Russ is going to be out here? Forget about it.
Yeah. Have you met the guy?
Yes, Russ is incapable of saying forget about it.
Unlimited.
It's not off the table.
All right. Do you like the Russ
You
deal
can't see
to
Russ
New
trying to
York?
say gabagool somewhere?
Oh, my God. I
careful,
show
though.
bet right now that the words gabagool never come out of Russell Wilson's mouth. You know why I like Russ? His dad went to Dartmouth.
Okay.
Russ and I have always bonded. His dad, who passed away, sadly, when Russ was really young. Russ is a unique guy. He's very, very button up. I don't think he's got a gabagool in him.
We'll see.
That's our little secret.
He plays to the crowd. Or tries to.
Here's the question. Is he going to play well for the Giants? Who knows? All right.
The bar's low.
Andrew
Don't
Bogus.
forget.
Andrew Bogus filling in for Maggie Gray. We'll be right back with another big deal that came last night in the NFL. Maggie and Perloff Show.
Mr. Unlimited.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Tony Gabagool Graham, it's nothing but fat and nitrates.
Gabagool. Over here.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Andrew Bogus sitting in for Maggie today. Bogus thinks that Russell Wilson, the chameleon, is going to turn into basically a wise guy quarterback. He's going to come into his first press conference in New York and say, hey, forget about it. The traffic on 95 was just so bad. I was going to get some prosciutto.
I mean, you put on basically like spurs and boots in Denver and became a Cowboy.
That's why you have Tommy DeVito in that quarterback room. He does all that. You don't need Russ for that.
Gabagool.
That makes sense, but Russ doesn't always make sense in these circles.
You know, it's funny. Maggie argued last week that the Jets like stars, and they would go with Shedeur Sanders, have a Deion Shedeur thing. For some reason, I feel like the Jets are eyeing Jackson Dart. I don't know why. It's more of a vibe. He reminds me a little bit more of the kind of offense that they were running in Detroit. Shedeur and the Jets does not fit to me. Would it be funny if the Giants pass on a quarterback and the Jets got the rookie in here and the Giants are just going with Russell and Jameis?
I mean, except for the Jets having no luck, that would make total sense. The Giants, again, would get embarrassed at the quarterback position.
Yeah, it's just a funny situation. All right, meanwhile, back to the AFC East. New England Patriots signed Stefon Diggs. I got to be honest, I was blown away by this money. $26 million guaranteed reported and 3 years, $69 million. For a guy who tore his ACL halfway through last year.
Yeah.
We saw Mike Williams could not recover from the same injury. Stefon Diggs is 31. This seems, on its surface to me, way too much money for a guy who's declining because of age. Of course, Stefon Diggs was great in his prime, but you're paying almost prime contract. I know it's short term in New England for a guy who I think there's just no way coming off an ACL he's going to be the same guy.
So I still think he can be useful, but I do want to kind of hit the pause button on this deal and see really what it is, because it's also, as people pointed out, the ratio of guaranteed to max value is a little off. Like normally they're a little closer than 26 and 69 million, and those are the numbers given in this deal. So maybe 26 is not all fully guaranteed. Maybe some of it's only guaranteed fully at signing. The other is kind of for injury, and things change on different calendar dates and whatnot. But I don't mind in general Stefon Diggs being a Patriot and getting help for Drake May, even if it's not in week one. Yep. But it is odd. And it's much like the Giant quarterback position. Stefon Diggs now, by default, is the Patriots' number one wide receiver, and he shouldn't be. Just like Russell Wilson is now the Giants' number one quarterback, and he shouldn't be either, because the Pats can't draft a quarterback to save their life, much like the Giants can't find a quarterback to save their franchise. So there felt like some parallels here last night with these back-to-back signings of Russ and Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, Diggs was last year in Houston. I saw a stat that C.J. Stroud had a 104 passer rating when he threw to him, but he was basically a slot receiver and a possession guy.
Yes.
His yards per reception were down close to a career low at 10 yards per. He was at 10.1 yards, and the year before he was at 11.5. It's age too. He's not going to be an outside receiver.
Right.
He's not going to be an explosive guy, and the Patriots just don't have that. And it's funny, signing this guy to me just highlights the fact that they missed out on the number one. They reportedly offered a boatload for Chris Godwin. We know they've wanted Ayuk through the years from San Francisco.
Yeah.
And now
they didn't get Debo. They didn't get DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
And there is not a wide receiver like Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. in this draft that they could go after either.
No, not at all.
They also have infinity cap space.
Well. Travis Hunter.
Yeah, but that depends on how you view him.
Yeah, I mean, Travis Hunter, if the New England takes him, they already have cornerback, so you assume that would be as a wide receiver. That's the number 4 overall pick. I view him as spectacular. Watch a Shedeur Sanders highlight, and you'll realize why Shedeur had good numbers at Colorado. You just throw it in the general area of Travis Hunter. He is a monster.
Yes, I agree, but it seems like the NFL's overall thought process right now is that he's a cornerback that also catches passes.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure that's true.
I think, but that's what every GM said at the Combine, except for one, said cornerback first.
I just don't see teams drafting him at cornerback.
But that's what I mean. So that's what they said out loud. That's all I can work off of.
Show me those quotes. I mean, look at the teams that are looking at him. He's not going to fall below 5. The Giants already have the Giants need a wide receiver 2 more than a cornerback. To me, they've spent some money there. And also, too, they need explosion on offense. Paulson Debo, they just signed him, and they have former high pick Deonte Banks. So I don't see him being a full-time cornerback there. That would be nuts to me to waste Travis Hunter. I think and I've told Maggie this many times, you have to play him both ways. Because if you're a really bad team, you obviously could use a little spice on either side of the ball. The Giants and the Patriots are a classic example. Man, they just need excitement. There was a great rumor, by the way. Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network, said that the Cowboys should trade up for Travis Hunter because Travis Hunter is going to be instant excitement. To me, he's Shohei. You got to play him both ways. There's no way to me. If the Giants drafted him and number 3 and just played him at cornerback, that would be nuts. Because think about it, if he was any other cornerback, this is who you get. You're one of the most least explosive offenses in the NFL, and you're just going cornerback. You have to play him wide receiver.
So I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But my point was, I'm trying to find you the quotes right now, is that every GM at the Combine was asked about him playing. And Andrew Berry was the only one that seemed to commit to the idea of him being a full-time at both positions. Most teams were viewing him as a cornerback with wide receiver potential. At least that's what they said out loud.
I hear you.
So, that's what I'm working off of. So, and that's why more than one person last night in dissecting Stefon Diggs and the Patriots pointed out that there wasn't a wide receiver to take. Now, that might have also been because he's not going to be there when they get on the clock. So they were already discounting Travis Hunter because he's just not available to them at their selection. So maybe that's after Travis Hunter, there's not a guy for them to take where they're sitting right now in this draft. So, but again, I still go back to the fact that I think that most teams, at least publicly, whatever the Combine was a month ago, were looking at him cornerback first.
I think that conversation has changed. And I am going off of the fact that Mel Kiper and Daniel Jeremiah, who we know talk to teams, seem to be leaning towards playing him at wide receiver. So I hope they do. It's also a matter of supply and demand. These teams that are drafting in the top 5, and Jacksonville too, they definitely need some pizzazz on offense. So maybe it's both ways. But the Giants, for example, if you drafted Travis Hunter and
he should be on the field at all times. Can he punt?
Yeah, stuck him at cornerback. Oh my God, what a waste that would be. All right, give us a call. Do you like the Russ Wilson trade to the Giants? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And do you think Stefon Diggs makes sense to the Patriots? again, to me, it just highlighted, man, how non-explosive this offense is. Then you added Mike Vrabel, who really doesn't want to throw the ball all over the field anyway. He wants to run the ball. I'm just not so sure that this deal pays off. The other thing, too, I remember Mike Williams last year in New York coming off that ACL. That just wasn't the same. It was week 8, I believe, that Stefon Diggs tore his ACL last year.
Mike Williams a little older?
Not really. No, I don't think so. How old is Mike Williams? Older than Stefon Diggs? Double check that. No, he's younger. He's 2 years younger.
Is he really?
Yeah.
My bad. Sorry, Mike Williams.
Yeah, Stefon Diggs is a sneaky 31. It came on a little bit later. All right. This is my first time throwing to you, Gordon Damer. I think it's your first time on the Maggie and Perloff show.
It is, yes.
Are you nervous? I mean, this is
It's
big
only
time.
a second shift period here.
Yeah. Saturday went well enough that I was allowed back in the building.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I've been listening to you for years. You're probably way too qualified for the show, to be honest. I think you're going to have to take your talent level down a few notches. Is that possible? Maybe mess up a couple words?
well, I'm filling in for Bogus. So
Yeah, I know.
have
That's
to,
what I mean.
Bar's
Sorry.
low. Yeah. It's much like the giant quarterback position.
All right, Gordon, what do you got?
Well, first off, I'll tell you, headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Well, as you guys were talking about, Joe Shane, Brian Daboll, when they were hired as the GM and head coach of the Giants, one of the biggest tasks in getting the team turned around was figuring out a solution at quarterback. So now heading into year 4 of their regime with Big Blue, they are going with Russell Wilson as their starting QB. Giants signing Wilson to a 1-year deal worth $21 million, $10.5 of which is guaranteed. Wilson will turn 37 in November. He's playing on his third team in 3 years. Last year in Pittsburgh, 11 games, threw for almost 2,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He joins Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito in maybe the most interesting quarterback room in the entire NFL. Now the only question is, does this move mean that the Giants avoid taking a quarterback at 3? The NFL draft is 29 days away.
The horse is prepared for battle,
Well,
but victory comes from the Lord.
they're only paying these guys $15 million. There is nothing. I mean, Bogues, you follow this very close. Nobody thinks that this means they're not drafting a quarterback, right? Has anyone said that?
No, if it does, if they really are out on a quarterback, then they're doing this wrong.
My only question, though, is if you are still drafting a quarterback, why would you want Jameis Winston as QB3 unless Bogus said you're going to cut him before week 1? That I don't understand. Because if you're in a situation where you have to go to QB3 during the season, that means your season is down the tubes. And at that point, you're probably looking to tank. So why the hell would you want a quarterback who could throw 30 touchdowns in a season?
So my guess would be that this is them covering all bases. Like if just something happens in the draft, they get jumped by somebody. Who knows, right? I mean, could the Browns take Shador too, and then the conversation is over, and they can't get back into Jackson Dart? They didn't want to have just Jameis and Tommy DeVito. So I think like what they have right now is their worst case scenario. Complimentary, like as a compliment of Russ and Jameis backing him up, and then DeVito just being there because he's DeVito. I don't think they wanted to live in a world where they didn't draft a quarterback and they only had Jameis.
It sounds like you're describing a panic situation. They entered the offseason with 0 quarterbacks.
Right.
They had to sign Tommy DeVito. So I think Bogus is right. I think they were just like, we got someone in this room. And then Russ became available because Pittsburgh went with Rodgers, at least in their head, went with Rodgers. They haven't signed him yet.
Right.
So I agree. That is going to be a mess. And what about our guy Tommy Cutlets in 4th Street? You're just going to not let him play? We love Tommy Cutlets in New York. All right, Gordon.
That's the problem.
As you guys mentioned as well, up in New England, Patriots add a big weapon for Drake May. They get Stefon Diggs, 3 years, $69 million, 26 of which is guaranteed. He, of course, suffered that torn ACL back in Week 8, but he is said to be good to go and on track for Week 1. When he was with the Bulls, Jimmy Butler removed the rear view mirror in his truck as a reminder to never look back. Last night, Butler was forced to look back in Miami for the first time since forcing his way out in a trade to Golden State.
And number 10, Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, and it all went downhill from there. The Warriors got smoked by the Heat, 112-86. Golden State never led in the game. Steph Curry missed the game again, a second straight game because of a pelvic contusion. Butler was held to 11 points on the night, but Did he get that important closure?
I mean, it was behind me a long time ago. As soon as I ended up a Golden State Warrior, everything that had went on, it was dead. So, you know, like I always say, I'm always focused on like the right now and what's to come. So I'm here as a Golden State Warrior, and I got a job there.
Yeah, and to show you how bad it was for the Warriors, at halftime, all 5 Warriors had exactly 2 points each.
By the way, EJ, nice regular season game you got there, NBA. I blame you in the NBA regular. I mean, that's a premier game. I was so excited to watch a competitive game. Just get to the playoffs. This regular season is to win. Oh, that game was such a disappointment.
Well, it's not the NBA's fault. Jimmy Butler demanded a trade from the Heat, and then Steph Curry got hurt. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm just saying the NBA cannot muster together a big regular season game. This regular season feels like a waste of time. I'm being dead serious.
What does that have to do with last night?
Last night, because it was supposed to be a big game. Jimmy Butler comes back to Miami, and of course, like the NBA is, it feels like one team mailed it in.
So you wanted to be professional wrestling where they script a game where it's the fourth quarter and Jimmy Butler has to shoot a game-winning shot to end the game? I don't know what you're talking about. It's
I just
sports.
feel like
it's competition. People get blown out.
It's not competition. I feel like NBA teams now late in the season, they're just sort of, if we're losing the game, we're just going to mail it in and move on to the next one. It doesn't feel like the intensity.
You know how many 30-point and 20-point comebacks there have been this year? More than ever because of the 3-point line. So what are you talking about that people don't come back?
I was waiting for a dramatic game last night. I thought it was going to be Jimmy Butler last second.
You thought the Heat without Jimmy Butler and no Stephen Curry is going to give you a great game? I don't understand.
You mean the Warriors? Yeah,
right. Warriors, right?
But what's the point of Jimmy Butler? Jimmy Butler's supposed to be the guy when Steph can't play, who's going to lead the team. Yeah, I expected a competitive game. I thought he'd be fired up to go home. They scored 86 points.
You're expecting too much from Jimmy Butler at age 35. Sorry.
I've seen he's kicked butt since he got there. He's been great.
Right, with Stephen Curry, which is my point.
Help me out, Bogues.
I can't.
Because I'm too logical. That's why.
No, the game should have been ugly last night in the Warriors' favor. The Warriors' no showing last night was a little disappointing.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys really think Steph Curry, without Steph Curry, the Warriors are a good team?
We're 70.
They're better than the Heat.
Wow, okay.
We're 72 games into this bad boy. It is time to start the playoffs, EJ.
The Warriors are playing guys I've never heard of before, and that's me. I mean, I think you guys are really underselling that Steph Curry did not play, so therefore the game was what it was.
How many wins do the Heat have this year? I mean,
they have an all-star on their team. They have 2, actually.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler's an all-star as well.
Right, but I keep saying again, Jimmy Butler's not the player he used to be. So again, I don't know. I don't know what you want. A scripted game where Jimmy Butler gets 40? Like, he's not capable of that anymore.
You haven't noticed that a lot of these what should be big regular season NBA games have disappointed this year? I just feel like it's hard to get everybody on the court at the same time. I just feel, maybe I'm being nostalgic, old school. It used to be the regular season games felt like they had a little more heft. Maybe it's me.
I mean, perhaps. I'm just saying, I don't know how you point to last night, again, where Steph Curry is hurt. We saw him fall on the ground. It's not like he's making up an injury. He gets hurt. Jimmy Butler, you're asking him to do something that he hasn't done all year.
Everybody was hyping up this game.
Because
it was supposed to be a great game. Nobody thought that the Warriors were going to score 86 points.
You really thought? Oh, my gosh. Okay.
You thought it was going to be a blowout? You should have bet that if you were so sure of this.
As soon as Steph Curry was not stepping on that floor, I had 0 inches in watching this game. I wanted to see the intro, see if they booed Jimmy Butler, which some of them did, some of them cheered, and that was all I cared about from this one. I don't know. The Heat are the Heat, and the Warriors without Stephen Curry have been look at their record without Stephen Curry for the majority of his time there. They're a miserable team without Stephen Curry, especially since the post Durant days.
I'm looking. The Warriors were 5.5-point favorites,
which was dumb.
Dude, you should forget this take. You should have been betting the house on this if you knew it was going to be a blowout. Anyway, all right, Gordon, back to you.
Heat are 31-41 on the season, currently in the 10th spot in the Eastern Conference. To kind of help your quote.
I thought Jimmy could put the team on his back and compete here. I guess not.
Jimmy couldn't put the Heat on his back during the season and compete. I don't know again why he was supposed to have the Warriors.
Well, because he didn't want to in Miami, right?
Maybe he quit, but I don't know. I mean, that's maybe. I don't know. I just feel like we've seen Jimmy Butler, the best of him being the number one option. So this idea that he was going to go to Miami and put up 40, I didn't see that happen.
But he was ever going to do it. That would have been the game last night, no? I mean, he's given Taylor Rooks tough guy quotes before the game about Pat Riley, but he goes on the court and doesn't do that?
Again,
that's a testament to Jimmy Butler,
right?
I think.
Who do you guys think Jimmy Butler is? I'm so confused by this. Like, yes, Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, is a certain guy. Okay, sure. But the guy who's been in and out of lineups, given half effort the last 2 years, I don't know who you guys think he's like LeBron? I don't understand.
No. I thought we could have gotten playoff Jimmy Butler for a night. March.
I think when a team is a 5.5 point favorite, you could expect them to at least be competitive in the game. I don't think that's too much to ask for. But you're right. They stink without Curry. But I don't think that was ESPN was hyping up this game big time. All the analysts were talking about Jimmy coming back. I don't think everyone. I think if you knew it was going to be a blowout, I don't think everyone else did.
I just didn't think it was going to be a fun game. I've watched the Heat this year. I've watched the Warriors play without Stephen Curry. As soon as he was out, I was like, well, this is not as fun anymore. And I turned on the Knicks, and I turned on Daredevil. And I had a great night.
Oh, boy. There you go. All right, Gordon, what else you got?
Scary news for Damian Lillard, diagnosed with a blood clot in his right calf. He's on blood-thinning medication. He's out indefinitely. You might remember the Spurs shut down Victor Wembanyama back in February after he was diagnosed with a similar condition. For him, it's in his shoulder. The Thunder, first to 60 wins, beat the Kings 112-105. SGA had 32. And Alex Ovechkin moving a little closer to history last night.
Nice pass. Ovechkin scores! Alex Ovechkin, 889.
Yeah, career goal, 889. So now 6 away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time record. Caps 10 games to go in the regular season.
It's hockey.
We've been debating this, Gordon. What's your opinion? When does Wayne Gretzky start following the Capitals to be in the building?
I think you got to be within one, right?
Bogues, you had 3, right?
I say 3 because 3 is.
When was the last time Ovechkin had 3 goals in a game, though?
I mean, this year.
But
3 is doable. Mm-hmm. Like 3 in a game is a
lot
of
travel. I mean, he's had a lot of games where he hasn't had any goals, right?
Well, of course. That's true of everybody.
Yeah, but you don't want to miss it. 3, but that's a lot of travel. Luckily, there's only 10 games left.
I just remember Aaron Judge's when he was going. The Roger Maris family was traveling for like a week and a half.
Yeah,
you don't want that.
Yeah, no, that would not be ideal. Gretzky,
Aaron Judge.
We had a big argument, Gordon, about whether Gretzky had anything better to do. And we all decided playing golf with Janet is number one priority.
Well, number one for you, I saw.
Yeah, well,
he doesn't want to play golf, right? Or play golf with Janet. Am I right, Perloff?
What's that? Meaning he wants to do other things?
Wink, wink. No, you with playing golf with Janet. That's what I'm alluding to. Don't you remember from 3 Things?
Yeah, I mean, but that's in 1995. Now I would like to play golf with Paulina.
It's a little shot at Janet. Janet looks great now.
Yeah, that's a great take, though. Great take on Paulina.
Paulina has 100% approval rating. Have you ever been? I was at Pebble Beach, and Wayne and Paulina were there. Yeah, Wayne was not getting the crowds following him. Isn't this great, the stuff we could talk about without Maggie here?
Oh, 100%.
Great is one way to put it.
And also, we talk about this stuff with Maggie here.
Not a way
Maggie often starts these conversations.
Yeah,
true.
Maggie's very curious about our opinions.
Excuse me.
Gordon, thank you. All right, coming up, I actually have a trade proposal for Giants fan Andrew Bogusch. And I want him to put himself in the shoes of the Giants GM and see if we can make a deal. That's next, Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
When the moon hits your eye.
Hey, where's the freaking gabagoo? Don't make me get the. Hey, I'm walking here.
It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back. We're trying to craft Russell Wilson's new New York personality. We should sit him down in a room. This is how real New Yorkers talk.
I mean, that's basically a live looking at him and CR right now in their house at their breakfast nook. He's just running lines by her.
Yeah, I don't.
Or he's speed watching Sopranos for the first time, so he can make at least a couple of references.
Now we know Russell could try to fit into any situation. This one feels too extreme. I just can't see the words gabagool coming out of his mouth.
But he's gonna try it. Like, he's gonna do it. There's no doubt in my mind he can't not be cheesy Russ. So we're getting something.
You think he's going to develop a New York accent? You think he's going to just walk up one day, I talk, I live in New York, and I drink water with my coffee?
Or at the very least, he's going to show up to his opening press conference with the stereotypical blue coffee cup that you get from the cart on the corner.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Eating a bagel. He's going to go all in.
But did Eli Manning ever do any of that?
It doesn't. Different people. Eli Manning wouldn't have said Bronco Country, let's ride.
Yeah, Eli kind of got away with being Eli throughout his stay in New York.
Early on, they got on him though.
And then at
did
the
they
end,
really? Yeah, I was wondering about that. They said what? He's just not a real New Yorker.
They thought he was not a leader. Yeah, all those things were things he had to deal with.
Eli face.
Yeah, kind of all true with Eli. But Eli won 2 Super Bowls, and then they held on to him way too long. So if you're the Giants, you're sitting at number 3 in the draft. You get a call, Andrew Bogus, from New Orleans at 9. They say they hypothetically really want Shedeur Sanders. Would you move down and not take Shedeur Sanders, or would you consider calling up to number 1 for Cam Ward? If you're the Giants, are you trying to move off that 3 spot, which right now, according to most mock drafts, has you slotted to take Shedeur Sanders? It makes a lot of sense, but there are some people who don't believe he is worth going number 3 overall.
So my guess is going up to number 1 is going to be too expensive.
Yeah, you might have to give up a first.
So I think you definitely give up next year's first. If the Titans didn't take next year's first and like swapping your first this year, then they're doing it wrong. So that feels like a lot, regardless of where that Giant pick would end up next year. So right. I don't think I would go forward. I am again intrigued by the idea of going backward, but you've got Jackson Dart to the Jets, so it feels like the Giants can't go any farther back than the Jets. They need to stay in front of the Jets if they want to not take Shedeur and get Jackson Dart instead.
You know, you look at this draft, it feels like there are 2 guaranteed studs in it, right? Abdul Carter, the Penn State edge, and Travis Hunter, cornerback, wide receiver. It reminds me a little bit of Deion's actual draft. 1989, he was the 5th pick in a crazy draft because number 1 was Troy Aikman, 2 was Tony Mandrich, who former SI cover boy, the big offensive lineman, one of the worst busts in NFL history. Because after that was number 3, Lions, Barry Sanders, 4, Derek Thomas to the Chiefs, and 5, Deion Sanders to Atlanta. I feel like Abdul Carter is Derek Thomas. I really do believe he's going to be a superstar pass rusher. And obviously Travis Hunter, to me, is a new Deion. And not only is he going to be possibly a good receiver, if he plays cornerback and he gets an interception, that guy is bringing it to the house, Deion style. Maybe have him as a punt returner. So I look at that 3 pick. There's 2 potential Hall of Famers there. I have to be tempted if I'm the Giants because I don't think this is a special quarterback class. So I wonder if the Giants think, oh, man, there's some really good positional players at the top of this draft.
I mean, they have to be for everything that you just laid out. But again, like they can't also leave another draft without like a high pedigree, possible franchise-saving quarterback. They've put themselves again in this nearly impossible situation, and you have to take the quarterback when he's there this early in the draft.
You know, I'm not sure that thinking is accurate. You have to look big picture because you have to consider next year's draft. I mean, what's the point of getting a good quarterback, not a great quarterback? Isn't the goal to win a Super Bowl? And the question is, can Cam Ward or Shedeur do that?
But to be honest, again, last year's draft had more guys in the top 12 at that position than we thought. And as good as they had been at times, we don't know anything long-term about Michael Penix or Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy. So all 3 of those teams were in similar positions the Giants are right now.
Well, 3's a bit higher than they were.
Yeah, but the draft was different. This draft 3 is where the intrigue starts, so to speak.
If you're the Giants and say Travis Hunter goes 2 and Abdul Carter is sitting there, you've already invested a ton in your defensive line. You're probably not going to take him, but aren't you going to feel bad if he goes on to be a generational player?
Yes, I more so in your scenario. And I'm picking between Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders and Abdul Carter. I'm taking Sanders over Hunter, but I would really want to take Carter over Sanders.
Yeah, I'm curious how people view these prospects. We have some time to break down the draft. I get the sense that people are higher on Abdul Carter than Travis Hunter.
I think there's too many, not questions or doubts about Travis Hunter, but like, what if it doesn't work? He's an elite cornerback or wide receiver, right? But like the allure of him is him doing both of those things very well. And what if he's actually not elite at one of them in the NFL and he can't do both of them? It's a different projection, and I think that scares people.
EJ, can you put up a poll? Because we haven't gotten into this yet. If you had a choice, all things equal, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, who would you draft? I'll bet you, based on the fact that with one arm, Abdul Carter blew up the entire Final Four of the college football playoffs, I think Abdul Carter wins this big time, but I'm not sure every NFL team. I mean, the Giants already have Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. Do they need Abdul Carter?
No, but if you're taking everything away and you're just picking on who you think is the best player, I would think that's a landslide for Carter among NFL GMs.
Yeah, maybe. I think there's some Travis Hunter fans. I think Cleveland could use the pizzazz. I call it pizzazz. It's a dad word. Travis Hunter.
I
think
that word.
A two-way player. If you're a terrible team, there's nothing wrong with a two-way player. All right, coming up, we actually have a new possible draft trend that is all because of my Philadelphia Eagles. And your former player, Saquon Barkley, has changed the way NFL teams think. That's next. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, you got Perloff. Maggie, unfortunately, is out. We had an incident on yesterday's show, and I'll call it an incident because Maggie was laughing about it on the phone with me. She's feeling a little under the weather. Had to make a quick escape. It could have been worse. I don't know how she got home, but she is home, and I think will probably be back tomorrow, but she's already feeling better, so don't worry about your girl. She's fine, folks.
And she told me that she's got a 10:30 appointment with Dr. Rock today, so if we get to the bottom of all this, then she can get back here as soon as possible.
Don't be jealous of my relationship with Dr. Rock Positano. I hear your little snide comments, Andrew Bogus, sitting in for Maggie Gray. I have some famous doctor friends. Neil Elatrosh, James Andrews. No, I don't know those guys, but I wish I did.
Just Dr. Rock. It's a good way to go, though.
Dr. Rock Positano, renowned foot doctor. Okay. Russell Wilson signs with the Giants. We are trying to figure out if he's going to develop a New Jersey, New York accent and talk about gabagool.
Gabagool.
I don't think he's capable of this.
He's going to have a congestion pricing joke, too. You know that's coming.
Yeah.
Over here.
Do you like
these tolls?
Yeah, I know. There's a new ridiculous New York City tax coming in next week. I'll get
There's
into it later.
another one next week?
There's another one that is insane.
What is Hochul doing to us, Perloff?
This one's not Hochul. This is a city. It is crazy. As if they're not taking enough of our money. Basically, if you don't freeze your compost and put it out on the street, they're going to fine you $100 a week.
Ooh.
I hate Kathy Hochul. Anyway, Russell Wilson will address all of this at his first press conference.
Come to Long Island. We don't have that problem on Long Island. There's no compost,
plenty
frozen
of other
otherwise.
Problems. Plenty of other problems. Give us a call. Do you like Russell Wilson to the Giants? Do you think he will be? Yeah. Do you think Russ will be the starting quarterback throughout the season? Does he get 17 games in New York? Do they draft a guy, use Russ for half the season? I want to know the plan because I'm not sure what it is right now. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay, I have a mock draft in front of me, Andrew Bogish. Bucky Brooks, former cohort. I used to write a column with him, actually, at SI.
Another name drop.
Former NFL player, former NFL scout, played at North Carolina, interestingly enough, has some interesting opinions on Bill Belichick, I'm sure. Has Shedeur Sanders going number 2 to the Cleveland Browns and your New York Giants taking Travis Hunter. But that is not what caught my eye about this mock draft. Bucky has 3 running backs in the top 20. 2 in the top 10. He has Ashton Genty to number 6, to the Raiders at number 6. Then he has a surprise pick, Chicago, Omarion Hampton, the North Carolina running back, number 10 to the Bears, for a very good reason. Ben Johnson, the new coach in Chicago, famously ran 2 running backs at Detroit, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, who went number 12 in the draft. So that actually makes a lot of sense. And then one that really surprised you is I have not seen a lot of this. Travion Henderson to the Broncos at number 20. I mean, we saw Henderson breakaway speed at Ohio State. Very, very intriguing prospect. Is the running back? And Daniel Jeremiah, who does a podcast with Bucky, NFL Network, number 1 draft analyst in the world, I will say right now, I think he does the color for the draft for NFL Network, thinks that there's a running back could go even higher than 6 to the Raiders. Let's hear from Daniel.
If you don't get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, I would add a little line to the end of best available. I would say best available player that can help your quarterback. So I would be looking on the offensive side of the ball. And Ashton Genty, I have him as I think the number 3 player in the draft. So if you're just going pure best available player, it'd be Genty. And if you're obviously looking on the offensive side of the ball, he would be the guy there from the offensive side of the ball standpoint.
That was not me wowing, by the way. It sounded a little like me. But who was that? Who's wowing in the background? Yeah, that did sound like me. That would be crazy to have a running back in this day and age because running backs are out of favor, supposedly, in the NFL. Then what happens last year? Saquon Barkley eclipses 2,000 yards. The Eagles win the Super Bowl. Derrick Henry, amazing in Baltimore. Feels like...
And Jahmyr Gibbs,
an incredible weapon in Detroit. Feels like the running back is making a comeback. Ashton Genty, number 4 overall. There are some people, including Maggie, who is a little worried about his lack of height. We haven't had many running backs that short. I am not. That guy can break every tackle. I think he is a superstar. 4, I am not going to quite take him that high because that means you'd have to maybe pass on Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. But I can see him definitely going 6 to the Raiders.
I can see him. I mean, this began with him going to the Bears, right? That was the kind of the first real sneak up the board because of the Ben Johnson, Jahmyr Gibbs connection. Now he's going even further than that. Yeah. And I'm completely on board with this. You're right. I mean, 6 even still feels a tad bit high for me, but I understand why the Raiders would want him. Because once you get past, once you get to 5, and presumably both quarterbacks and Carter and Hunter are gone, as Jeremiah said, now you're in the area where most players are kind of equal in terms of impact, and helping a young quarterback makes a lot of sense. So I get this completely, and I am here in general for the running back renaissance.
But would you take a running back to help a quarterback and not a wide receiver?
In this draft, yes.
All right, EJ, you're the Raiders at number 6. You need a weapon. You have terrible skill position players. Which way do you go?
I think I lean more receiver over running back. They did the thing with the running back with Josh Jacobs for them, and it didn't do much, right? They were a middling team. They made the playoffs once.
Good running back.
Very good running back, and a guy who was a star who then went to a great team and then turned them into, the Packers didn't take a step up, but he had a great year. I think the point I'm trying to make, though, is I feel like the calculus for where you take a running back should depend on where you are in development of a team. So if you're the Eagles or you're the Packers or you're the Ravens, those teams are basically finished products. We're adding a superstar running back, maybe takes their offense potential and raise that ceiling way higher. If you're the Raiders, I don't know if taking a running back really does that. So I would go with a wide receiver. Maybe it's at McMillan, T-Mac from Arizona or someone like that, because I just don't know at that high is a running back changing life for the Raiders.
So that, by the way, McMillan is at 26 in this same mock draft. So he's not on the same.
He's falling right now.
Right.
He's falling. I mean, there were multiple.
And he's the first wide receiver post Travis Hunter that's taken. So there is not a wide receiver by all accounts right now at 6 that's worthy of that pick.
Right. He did not run quite what people wanted as pro day. There were multiple reports, 4.58, some people said. For a guy who's his size, maybe a little slower, I think that's obviously overrated. Daniel Jeremiah has Matthew Golden as his wide receiver number 1, unless you count Travis Hunter, who's also a wide receiver. Yeah, this is going to be a tricky spot. I am going Ashton Genty with the Raiders. Against all my best logic, I consider myself an analytics guy. I don't think you should pay running backs. I don't think that you should draft them high because it seems like you can get a guy in the 5th round who's just as good. But you're the Raiders, and I think normally, EJ, your logic with the wide receiver is spot on. I just don't think it's this draft. So you are in a position where the draft, by all experts' accounts, is not super strong. There are only a handful of players who are elite. I've heard that it goes pretty much after the 10th pick, between 10 and 30 are very similar players. This is a unique spot that the Raiders are in number 6, and I think Genty's a star, and go for it.
Yeah, and this is where I've always pushed back on the argument to use EJ's. Josh Jacobs was not the problem with the Raiders. They didn't struggle because they picked Josh Jacobs. They struggled because they made 18 other errors, and they had to change head coaches or whatever. It just has always felt to me, and I had to eventually get off of this hill because I was basically the last one on it. But for whatever reason, running backs took the brunt of indirect blame for teams struggling. No one ever goes, well, they picked the left tackle and they stunk for a decade and they blame him. Then no one ever blames other positions where players were picked and the rest of the team sucked. They don't go back to the D tackle or the pass rusher, but we go back to Josh Jacobs was not the problem for the Raiders. And even Saquon Barkley wasn't the problem for the Giants. The theory was the problem, and the inconsistency was the problem because the Giants kept going back and forth between whether they were picking for now or down the road. That was the problem. It wasn't having Saquon Barkley. It was that they were making picks that didn't connect from one to the other because every pick had a different future value. And that was the problem.
And that's fair. And I think, look, Saquon and what Derrick Henry did maybe will contradict what I'm about to say. But I think for most running backs, I think the other issue is the prime of their career is when they step on the field their rookie year. Really, the first 4 years are the best years you're getting out of running back. So if you're going to draft the running back super high, when you know you have so many other issues on your team, my question, though, becomes how do you fix those other issues in time to maximize your running back's prime? And to me, with the Raiders, if you're going to draft Ashton Jeanty, it's go time. It's not, in 6 years, we'll have a team together and then we'll be good. He very well at that point could be on the decline. Not certain, because we saw Saquon did, but that's very possible. So that I think the calculus for paying a running back and drafting a running back, I think, are totally different.
But I think the Raiders do think it's go time. They have a 72-year-old coach. They have a 34-year-old quarterback.
And they just paid Max Crosby.
They just paid Max Crosby. So, and by the way, I can squint and see it being go time there. Like, I think they're ready to win some games. Would you buy that, EJ?
That's probably where the difference lies. I think the Raiders are still the bottom feeders of that division. It's not necessarily anything against them per se. I just think the Chargers and Broncos are still better. I'm going to mention the Chiefs. So to me, it's like you're a last place team. What does Jeanty do for you?
Well, I got to tell you, look at the picks in this mock draft. Bucky Brooks, NFL Network, his mock draft. He has Tyler Warren at 7. Obviously, the Raiders aren't going there. They have Brock Bowers at tight end. Then he's got Jalen Walker, who's at edge. They've already invested in their D-line, and they've already invested in their O-line with a lot of draft capital. So they're in a very unique position. What they really need is a number one wide receiver, and unfortunately, I just don't think it's there. So it's not the perfect spot. I'm curious, too. Like, are we sure they would not bring in Shedeur Sanders to sit behind Geno, who's maybe a bridge quarterback? It seems unlikely, but remember the Shedeur-Tom Brady connection? I feel like we had that earlier in the season, pre-Geno Smith. Is that out of the question?
If they do that, that would be malpractice to me.
Yeah, you hated when your Jets picked a Olufashinu, a lineman who was not going to be a starter.
Yeah, because
you want a guy who's going to go in immediately.
Right, and to be fair, like, it kind of went backwards. Like the Jets ended up kind of being a tanking team, so therefore and then Tyron Smith got hurt, so the Olu draft pick kind of worked. But yes, I do not understand that. Like, you're a team that you're trying to allegedly win now. If that's the case, then why are you drafting a quarterback you're not going to play now? It doesn't. The equation doesn't make sense. The math is not math in there. I would hate that if they drafted Shedeur Sanders after spending this draft capital on Geno Smith. Now you're spending it on a quarterback who's not going to play.
And for them specifically, they need the help of picks, not trading picks, because they're not getting Shedeur at 6. So to move forward to get him is going to cost assets that I would rather allocate somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, their skill position room is way too empty. I like, again, and it's against my best instinct because I consider myself an analytic guy. I like Ashton Jeanty. It's the way the guy, you ever see him go down on the first hit?
No, but this is about now. If this was Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison or Ashton Jeanty, no one's picking Ashton Jeanty, but this is what's available for teams in this part of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, the knock on people say that Ashton Jeanty did not play great competition, and when he did, it wasn't the same running back. So that's out there too. It's a weird draft. I think the Raiders need to take a risk here. And I also think, by the way, around that number 6 pick, we're going to be talking about Jackson Dart in 7 or 9. Just a weird draft. Demand is pushing up players that you normally would not see there. Not a great draft.
Can I propose a third option for the Raiders real quick?
Yeah, please.
I think trade down. This is a trade down spot.
Yeah, I get a wide receiver.
Yeah, I really feel like this is a thing where if you're really unsure about Jeanty for the things you mentioned, size, competition, I mean, this is a team. If there's any team that needs multiple picks to fill out a roster, is this team. So maybe you trade down. Maybe you do get Golden or Tet later in the first round, and then you fill out the rest of your roster. Their secondary is horrendous. They really need DBs. They're playing. You can get maybe later in the first round and second round as well. So that can be something they consider.
I love Golden, by the way. I don't know. I mean,
he's electric.
Ran a 4.3, but you saw it on the field. He really took over, and because I'm a lifelong Houston Cougars fan as well. And I think he was a Coug before he went to Texas. Yeah, so I agree, but I don't know, EJ, is there value at 6 for other teams? Because
I think one of these teams may want Jeanty.
Yeah, it may be Jeanty, right. But I was thinking a lot of these players are very similarly graded from 6 to 20, basically.
Right. Yeah, but again, I guess the real cluster, could this draft begin with Ward, Shedeur, and Jackson Dart 1, 2, 3, and then all of this talent sitting there at 4.
It's happened before. You remember the Baker Mayfield draft? nobody had Baker number 1 overall at the end of March.
Like we know Cam's going number 1. If the Browns go Shador 2, and then the Giants they have to pick somebody, they're gonna take Jackson Dart there.
Wow, that would be if this draft went 1, 2, 3, and then might as well throw Tyler Shuck.
I mean, I don't
25-year-old.
The owner is on camera saying we have to get our future quarterback. I don't know that unless they can move back a spot or two for Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, but they have to guarantee themselves one of those 3 guys. That changes also how picks 4, 5, and 6 play out.
Yeah, I was also wondering, are teams going to trade up for Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter? I think Abdul Carter is worth giving up some draft capital to get up there. I think it's pretty obvious to me he's a star.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be my pick if I was the Browns, without any hesitation.
And the other problem is there's no surefire left tackle. Will Campbell's the top left tackle, and he's got short arms.
And I think your dude from the combine has slowed a little bit too, right?
Mambu?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this idea of a short arm tackle. I just picture a little Tyrannosaurus Rex guy with little short arms trying to block a guy. Yeah, I for some reason that guy. And by the way, Tyler Warren also
he can't reach.
Yeah, the Penn State tight end apparently has very short arms, which is kind of weird. So they're worried is he could be able to block if he has to take on an edge guy. Listen, I have small hands, so I understand this. I'm 6'4", and I think I have probably 9-inch hands. And
your hands look plenty bigger than mine, so I'm jealous.
Yeah, EJ, how's your hand size?
I think they're
pretty big,
medium. I would say
probably 9.5.
I can almost palm a basketball. I can palm like basketballs are with not quite regulation.
Manny, what do you got going on the hand size?
I got tiny hands, man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's
explains a lot.
Yeah, it does. Unfortunately,
you need to find Jalen Milroe and do those hand stretching things to stretch your fingers long enough.
I mean, we all know if we're getting to body parts, this show obviously has a secret weapon.
Miss Gray,
her feet. Men's 9.5.
Guys, that's our lottery ticket.
God, if I had a body part anyone wanted to see. If we desperately need to raise revenue at the last second, definitely going to some sort of feet-only site.
It bothers me how open Maggie is to this.
Yeah.
The way she talks about it, she seems to be like, hey, guys, that's on the table.
I would even say curious.
And I might have a second personal lottery ticket here because my wife has. Now, I've always joked about my wife. My wife has long toes.
Okay.
Longer than they should be. Not right. like I'm sure they're longer than average, but they're not
keep going.
She can't climb a tree.
Does she look like Nosferatu? What are we talking about here?
But she has the same shoe size as Maggie. I don't know what Maggie's proportion is from foot to toe, but my wife, I have short, stumpy toes. My wife has almost finger toes. So I think my wife has a similar target demo than Maggie does.
I don't think your wife would take too kind to this.
We were joking about it just yesterday.
Oh boy!
On the air though.
First of all, she's not listening.
There it is.
So this is a safe space for all things. But I've known her since she was 16 years old, and it has been a joke since then.
Mrs. Bogus, please support the show. Listen, please.
So I got 4 feet that we could be selling to make some cash here.
Wow.
That's kind of unselfish of you, by the way. I would just pocket that money myself and be like, hey, we're doing this.
Well, it wouldn't be. You guys can get a cut. You can get a cut of my wife's.
Okay.
Not a full share.
I can't relate to any of this. My wife is physically perfect and in every way.
How's her golf game?
Wait.
You guys playing 18 this weekend?
Listen, I mean, come on. I think even the most secure marriage, you're allowed to talk about Paulina Gretzky in a positive way. I mean, come on. There's certain women.
That's fair.
But speaking of which, you guys know I got Bogus in big trouble yesterday. Big trouble.
I'm not aware.
I got a little adult on the text thread.
Visually.
And
it popped up on my watch while I was sitting in a crowded CYO swim meet.
Yeah. All right.
We gotta
take a break. We got to take a break now, just in case any of the wives are listening. But we'll be right back. We'll share the story of how I almost got Bogus kicked out of a swim meet because of a risque photo. That's next, right here, Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie and Perloff Show. Maggie out sick one more day. I believe she will be back tomorrow. Andrew Bogus is sitting in. All right, Bogus, set the scene. You were at a swim meet last night, and your Apple Watch starts buzzing.
First of all, let me begin by this is my daughter's first year competitive swimming. So this is my first year in a loud, condensed, humid pool with girls from like the ages of 9 to 16 screaming, shrieking, cheering, whistles blowing, parents yelling. That ain't like a baseball field or a basketball court, those swim meets, man. You should have warned me to not let my daughter do this.
Mm-hmm.
But last night was the season finale, and I was there as you guys would have normally had your evening production call. So we were doing this via text because I could not possibly have been on the phone at the swim meet. And I have an Apple Watch connected to my phone, so I get when the text comes in, my phone buzzes, my watch lights up, and my watch was exposed sitting poolside, and you sent a picture to the group of a possible topic, including a scantily clad, beautiful movie star.
Yeah.
And the preview on my watch was literally just her barely covered upper chest area.
Calling all boobs.
Yeah, there are boobs on my wrist everywhere for people to see, including my wife and my son and strangers. But I think I saw it fast enough to hide it, but I definitely might have been judged by more than one stranger last night. And it's all your fault.
I think it was just the way the photo was framed. Right? Only a certain part of the photo. It was an important story. And Manny, I'm so sorry. This was actually meant for you.
Yeah,
I left you off the thread.
Yeah, EJ showed me the picture, and he shows me the text, and underneath this link that you send, it says for Manny. However, I was never included in the text thread, Pearl.
Sorry about that, dude.
Yeah, you really fumbled that one, brother.
Well, the news is that Sydney Sweeney, the actress, has deleted a picture where she is kissing her fiancé on New Year's Eve.
Oh.
So now the rumors are that there's trouble in paradise.
Oh, it's Manny's time to shine, ladies and gents.
Not with those small hands.
Oh, damn.
Sydney Sweeney, if I get Knicks tickets and we're sitting near Sydney Sweeney, is that somebody you would be interested in dating?
Oh, I would change her life in an instant.
How would that happen?
For the better or worse?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if Sydney Sweeney is going to want to, on a Tuesday night, sit and watch a Knicks game with you, Manny.
You'd be her Russell Wilson.
Let's ride. Do whatever, girl.
Emphasis on ride.
Yeah.
What? Wait, what?
I promise you, Sydney.
Yeah.
You'd have a great time. I would change your life.
Go back a second here. When you say that he would be her Russell Wilson, do you mean the way that Ciara is super hot and Russell's sort of a nerdy
more
guy
like
next to her?
Washed up, less than useful guy you settle for.
Bridge quarterback?
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Settle, Sydney. I'm looking right at the camera. Settle. I promise you. Settling would be the best thing that would ever happen to
Manny, you would take 8 starts in that situation.
I take 20 minutes.
20 minutes. It's being awfully confident there, bud. More like 2 minutes. Anyway, sorry about that text thread. Yeah, I did not know. I was just trying to spread the news. I was not trying to send a picture.
I do think this was a little risky, Pearl.
Sorry about that.
With married folks and engaged folks, I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, that is at Barstool Sports' problem. That was the picture they
became
chose.
a bogus problem.
Yeah, to be honest, I was more worried about like the adults I didn't know seeing that on my wrist. My wife is not going to care about a Sydney Sweeney picture on my phone. But the guy next to me I didn't know. I didn't want him thinking that I was some kind of dirtbag or confirming that I was what I am. But can I ask one other question?
Yeah.
Like, to play the scenario out, if you're in Dr. Rock's seats at a Knick game, and Sydney Sweeney is in like the real celebrity row where Tracy Morgan got sick recently, would you guys have access to the same places off the court, like the same lounges?
I'm not sure. I think there's a super secret celebrity lounge. EJ, do you know?
So what I noticed was when we sat together, Quavo was there. Remember, Pearl?
Yeah.
And
Quavo.
At one point, we actually walked past.
Is she hot?
She's not a she.
I know.
No, but we walked past Quavo, and I noticed that we were going towards the regular Delta Lounge, and he was literally going the opposite way. Like, there was a different tunnel that I suppose are where the real celebrities go. Like, the people who's paid a lot of money or whatever, they can go into Delta Lounge. But then he was literally going the opposite way I was going. I was like, well, no one is allowed to go there. I see people try to walk there, and they tell them, hey, don't go there. So I think there's a different section. Like you wouldn't see Quavo or Sidney Sweeney in the Delta Lounge.
Right. You don't even see Ben Stiller walking. They're never in the concession stands. As far as I know, I've never seen a celebrity in the main hallway of the Garden.
No, I'm thinking about the fancy places you guys had access to underneath. Is that where they go to?
Not to my knowledge. I've never seen any of them. Of course, by the way, Celebrity Row, they're not all on Celebrity Row, where you see Tracy Morgan and Ben Stiller. A lot of them sit underneath the basket. Bad Bunny was underneath the basket. Famously, Timothy Chalamet and I sat right next to each other. I said, Tim, just go ahead, sing. You're going to be great.
Tim.
You tell him to date Kris Jenner? I mean, not Caitlyn.
Kris Jenner.
Yeah, no, I believe me. He figured that one out on his own.
Did you see him at the tennis game?
No. Was he? What was he doing?
It's an interesting situation. He's at the tennis game, and his girl Kylie getting handsy and whatever, and he stands up. Shouldn't have stood up.
Oh,
Just gonna leave it there.
Oops.
Just gonna leave it there.
What?
Shouldn't have stood up.
Is this the tennis tournament in Miami?
Maybe it was. Yeah, it was.
No, I think it was California.
Oh yeah, it was recent. It was last week. It was like last week.
The one in Palm Springs.
Yeah, this video went viral. Yeah.
So he recreated Andrew Perloff in 7th grade, basically. When the science teachers come up to the board and do this problem, sir. Well, that's what a trapper keeper was for. I mean, we need Maggie back badly, although she would love this conversation.
I've never seen a celebrity enjoy his new girl like the way that guy enjoys Kylie Jenner. It is.
Well, I mean, makes sense.
I'm not judging him. I'm just saying that he's enjoying the fruits of fame.
I too would enjoy the fruits of fame if I was dating a Jenner.
They've been together a while now. Is that a new relationship? How long has that been going?
It's not that long. Maybe 2. I don't think it's that. I think it's no more than 2.
Sydney, we could surpass that. I promise you.
Of all the things Timothy Chalamet has done, I think we can all agree his appearance on College Game Day puts him over the top. He earned so many points by knowing mid-level college football that well, or at least pretending to. I mean, EJ, even you had to be impressed by that.
I mean, he's won an Oscar. I would say that's probably his best accomplishment. But yeah, the Game Day thing was cool. The Jenner stuff seems to be cool too for him. Seems to be doing okay in other departments besides knowing, Arizona's 3-4 defense.
I don't know. I don't think he's won an Oscar. Has he won an Oscar?
He's not won an Oscar.
He's
gotten
nominated.
a lot of press for a guy who's never won an Oscar.
Yeah, we'll double check that.
He didn't win this year, right? Because what's his name won for The Brutalist, but he got nominated for being Bob Dylan.
Right,
but he didn't win.
What was his big? Call Me by Your Name was his big movie. Gordon Damer's here doing updates. Gordon, are you a movie buff?
I am. Not necessarily modern movies, but more back in the day.
What are your thoughts on Caddyshack 2?
Not good.
Okay.
But by the way,
I don't think that's really controversial.
We've come to the wrong place then.
You have no idea what's going on here at the Maggie and Perloff show. First of all, when you say back in the day, if it's from 2013,
How dare you?
Manny will have never heard of it because it's too old. So be careful about back in there. You have to.
I'm the polar opposite. If it happened after 2013, I have no idea about anything.
Well, you and I could talk, but I say Bogus knows his movies.
Yeah.
Manny knows the new movies.
I don't know anything.
EJ is very genre specific. He knows action. No, what do you call those movies? He knows
superhero movies
better than anyone. Yeah.
Okay.
But as far as movies like The Godfather, that side of the glass has no idea.
It's a very weird thing. It's like I know superhero movies and I know the hood classics, as I would call them. Like the movies that my dad was like, hey, you're too young to watch this, but you're going to watch this because you're a young black kid and queen. So watch Juice. Here, watch Boys in the Hood.
Good movie, Juice.
Yeah, like just those movies. Here, watch Above the Rim. Like these are movies that I was watching at 8 years old. Shouldn't have been watching, but I was.
You got the juice now. Such a good movie.
Did you think he was going to go to 70s like Shaft or something? And he goes with Boys in the Hood from 1990 something.
Yeah, but that doesn't feel that old. Like you said, 2013. That doesn't feel like it was that long ago. It feels like it was like 3 years ago.
And then also random kung fu movies. So like Enter the Dragon. Again, 9 years old watching this.
I was a big fan of ninja movies when I was a kid. Yeah, anybody into those?
I mean, my dad loves like the old like kung fu movies, like with the poorly dubbed.
Oh, that's
voiceovers. Like that's really old.
It's called Ninja Te. Yeah, I've always, as a child, I was an aspiring ninja / breakdancer. I had a lot going on.
How'd that work out for you?
It's a very specific niche.
Sadly, I was better. No, and this is like 1986. Every kid wanted to be a breakdancer and a ninja fighter.
But they weren't all 6'3" and 84 pounds.
I was bad at both. I was probably a better ninja. I was so bad. My breakdancing moves were just awful. They were quite dangerous, too.
Define your good ninja.
Show us something for the stream, Pearl.
A ninja move? See, you won't see it because I won't even be there. It's
I understand.
The segment will open. There's no Perloff.
I was talking about you breaking out your ray gun impression and breakdance, but I digress.
Oh, no, I'm terrible at breakdancing. What if all of a sudden I dropped a couple smoke bombs and I wasn't there? That would be awesome on the YouTube stream.
I don't think that'd be ninja stuff. I think that'd be more like magician stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that was
Do you know
part of your
nothing
problem.
that's a major ninja move. To drop a smoke bomb and disappear, that's also a ninja move. Manny, you clearly don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, man, I'm just saying, I watched all the Rush Hour movies. I never saw Jackie Chan drop a smoke bomb and then just woof, disappear.
There's a major difference. Jackie.
What if I pull a rabbit out of my head? How about that
Chan's a
ninja
ninja,
move?
though.
He's kung fu, dude.
Yeah,
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Jackie Chan's not a ninja.
Karate. I don't know what the particular martial art Jackie Chan is. It's called ninja-te. Everyone sees Jackie Chan coming. No one sees a ninja coming.
Yeah, stealth isn't really. He can do stealth stuff, but I feel like Jackie's more. I kick your ass.
Did Leonardo or Raphael ever use a smoke bomb to disappear?
Are those
Definitely.
the Ninja Turtles? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. They've done that.
Yeah, I
Perloff
think
is right
so.
about this. Like, smoke bombs are a ninja thing.
Oh, definitely. They're a huge ninja thing.
All right, do it.
I'm gone. Okay. With that note,
This is when Maggie gets mad and goes, help us. Somebody save us.
Yeah, Gordon Damer, that man is you. Save us with some updates.
All right, there we go. A week ago, Giants had one quarterback on the roster. Now they have three, at least in name. Giants signing Russell Wilson to a one-year contract yesterday, $10.5 million guaranteed. Of course, he joins Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito. Wilson, 10-time Pro Bowler, turns 37 in November. He tweeted out a photo of MetLife Stadium with the caption, quote, "Been here before, can't wait to do it again." Hashtag MetLife, you might remember. Wilson's Super Bowl win came at MetLife in February of 2014. And in fact, he has as many postseason wins as the Giants do at MetLife since that building opened 15 years ago.
No.
Yeah. Well, the year they won the Super Bowl, they were a wild card, so they were on the road, and it's not like the Giants have had many opportunities here lately to stack up playoff wins.
They beat Atlanta. I remember that game. That was in MetLife. Is that the only win they had?
I think it is. And 2 years ago, when they went to the playoffs with Daniel Jones,
that was in Minnesota.
That was in Minnesota. So they have not had many home playoff
Is that why they signed him?
Maybe. You really could make the argument that that was the worst possible thing for the long-term prospects of the Giants was that season, because when Dable and Shane came in, it seemed pretty clear that they were going to move away from Daniel Jones. And then he has this season. They go to the playoffs. They got to bring him back.
Well, they tried to sort of thread the needle by going just 2 years. It just didn't work. That's bogus.
No, please don't. I do not accept this. Like, this is now my calling card. I don't want to be Giant fan, Andrew Bogusch. No thanks.
I was looking at Andrew Bogus's Twitter feed, and some of my friends in the Philadelphia media are dunking on him right now. It's good to be an Eagles fan here. Gordon, I'm an Eagles fan.
Yeah,
So it's just I walk around with my head held high, and I just pray that the Knicks never win, because those guys would be insufferable.
Well,
Go
it must be
Birds.
nice that you don't even have to do anything as an Eagle fan, right? Like your team didn't do anything. They didn't make a move, and you just have something to enjoy.
Oh, no, he thinks he did something all right. It is fading them. It is sitting in the right couch spot in his apartment. He does things that he thinks are going to help the team win or lose. It's saying all week the Chiefs are going to beat the Eagles, that Jalen Hurts can't throw the football. And
I never said Hurts can't throw the football. That's not a Perloff take.
Oh, is that right?
Ooh.
Hurts is not a great pass quarterback, but obviously, I always talk about how he's throwing dots all over the Super Bowl. I don't think, just find the quote. Jalen Hurts can't throw the football. I would never.
You definitely said Jalen Hurts was not throwing the football. He's not throwing the football. Those are
no.
direct quotes in the playoffs.
Definitely. Yeah, that makes sense. I thought they were going to go all Saquon, but then the teams like loaded up and put 9 in the box. I don't even know how we got here. People were celebrating. You know, everyone said it to me, "Congratulations, you did a great job on the Super Bowl." Everybody said that. I'm like, thank you. It's what happens. You guys will someday figure that out.
No, that's I don't. Giants, I'm not sure. I don't think it's
Jets
right around
fans over here.
Yeah, again, I don't think it's right around it. Much like your ninja career, I don't think it's going to take off anytime soon. Stefon Diggs has a new home, though. He's back in the AFC East, signs with the Patriots, 3 years, $69 million, 26 guaranteed. He turns 32 in November. You might remember, tore his ACL back in Week 8, but he is on track to be good to go for Week 1. Patriots desperate for weapons. Their receivers ranked 28th in the NFL last season. 161 catches, 10 touchdowns. Their only move before this was signing Mac Hollins to a 2-year deal.
Is that bad?
Mac Hollins?
No, the ranking 28th for receivers in the NFL.
It could be worse.
Oh, okay.
There are more teams than 28 in the NFL.
Where the Giants rank it there?
Negative 47.
If we were playing Family Feud and you had to say top 5 answers on the board, who is worse than the Patriots? I feel like the Giants might be the
Actually, Malik Neighbors probably spoils all of that. That's the one thing they probably look good in.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Malik.
Couple things going on here. Mike Vrabel does not want to throw the ball all over the yard anyway, so does it matter how good their receiving core is? And what if you had Travis Hunter, who seems like the most logical pick of 4? So if you have Travis Hunter playing at least some wide receiver and Stefon Diggs, you're higher than 28. You're like 26.
leaps and bounds, baby steps.
Yeah, Maggie thinks the Patriots are a potential turnaround team. I saw a story, Judy Batista, our friend, wrote that the Patriots could be the biggest turnaround team this year. They do, they have the young quarterback. They have a new coach who knows how to win football games. They invested a ton on defense. They are a little bit interesting.
And they're in a division that has one confirmed good team.
Yeah, I mean, Dolphins get some injuries. Jets are rebuilding.
Jets show up.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets with Justin Fields. I think it's fair to say the Jets could be in a rebuild. They're not investing anything in their quarterback room, just $20 million. Yeah, it's an interesting team for sure. I don't really even care where their wide receiver is because Drake May is the man. I think he can make those guys look better.
All right, major injury news in the NBA yesterday. Damian Lillard diagnosed with a blood clot in his calf, so he's out indefinitely. He had already missed the past 3 games. That was diagnosed as a calf strain, but then back on Monday, Doc Rivers said that Lillard was not improving. The Bucks have 11 games left in the regular season. Then, of course, you have Jimmy Butler, spent a good portion of the season trying to get out of Miami. Last night, he was back in Miami, first time since the trade to Golden State. Warriors got blown out, 112 to 86. Butler was held to 11 points. And you might think, well, the Heat fans must have really given it to Jimmy Butler last night. The Warriors head coach Steve Kerr says, yeah, not so much.
Really wasn't that rabid of an environment. It was typical Miami. And I think the main part of Jimmy's return is that the Heat were ready, and Spo had them ready.
And the college basketball carousel still spinning. Xavier was looking for a head coach with Sean Miller off to Texas, so Xavier grabs Richard Pitino from New Mexico. So Richard will now be in the same league as his father, Rick.
But how about he like verbally took the Villanova job, and then Chris Mack said, I'm not going back to Xavier. So then Xavier swooped in and took Pitino away from Philadelphia.
That's not cool.
That sounds awesome to me.
Cool. It's not cool for Villanova or Philadelphia basketball, but but that's how fast things changed yesterday. Where the first report was Pitino's going to Villanova to coach in the same league as his dad, and then Xavier stayed open and he changed his mind and went to Xavier for a better deal than he was getting from Nova. So he's still in the same league with his dad, but for a different school.
Which is a better job, Villanova or Xavier? If the money's close,
I would have guessed Villanova. But,
history,
but maybe not.
I don't know.
Sorry, I was going to say something must be rotten at Villanova if he's choosing Xavier over Villanova. That sounds crazy to me.
I mean, unless because Villanova had to pay Kyle Neptune to go away. I don't know what's left, and Xavier is probably getting money because Texas took Sean Miller. So maybe Xavier has more money to give him right now than Nova did.
Yeah, but I would think Villanova would have a big NIL budget. You could obviously win at the highest level of Villanova.
Well, they do, and then they didn't win, which is why they're changing head coaches.
Yeah, and also Villanova is obviously gorgeous. I actually have never
been.
Great
recruiting area.
Yeah, I haven't been to Xavier. I've been to Cincinnati. It's a nice town, but I don't know. Villanova seems to have a lot of advantages.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Cintas Center when I first was there. I do not know what it's called now. It's a good spot. It's not UD Arena. It's not getting to play at Wells Fargo like you do at Villanova. So yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that you would choose Xavier over Villanova, but maybe right now in this moment there's more money at Xavier.
It's still the Rock and Taz.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
All right, Gordon, thank you very much. We have to update our sequel bracket. Gordon, if you haven't seen some of these choices, you might be surprised. But I think we have a potential overall champion. I think there is a sequel that is playing like a champion right now. I think a true number 1 seed. We'll get to that next. Maggie and Perloff Show.
Gabagool.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Well, drunk as Sam stumbled into work at night, smelling like a whiskey, cheap boxed wine. Tried to flirt with Lisa from accounting again, but HR warned him that's strike number 10. Oh Sam, you gotta read the room. You ain't Casanova, you're just full of booms. Where the hell is Peter Polite? Did he call in sick or win the damn lottery? Nobody's seen him since 2:15. Was it a long night or a rendezvous? Oh, Bellotti, did you ghost us for good? Or are you just stuck in your neighborhood? Sam sent an email, slurred every word. Called the boss, baby man, that's absurd. Tried to high-five, but he missed by a mile. Knocked over the coffee, still flashing a smile. Then he said, I may get too familiar too soon. I am told by HR and writing, yeah, that's getting old. Where the hell is Peter Polite? Was he trapped in traffic or hiding in the lobby? The phones keep ringing, but he won't pick up. Left Maggie and Perloff to clean this up. Lady said I may get too familiar too soon. I am told by HR and writing, yeah, that's getting old. Where the hell is Peter Polite? Was he trapped in traffic or hiding in the lobby? Phones keep ringing, but he won't pick up. Left Maggie and Perloff to clean this up. Maybe he's in Vegas, maybe he's in Spain, or maybe he just hit snooze again. We got dead air day filling in. Wow.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
are they going to move the ball? I mean, do you think Jalen Hurts can be able to? First of all, Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown the ball at all. I mean, he's been terrible as a passer. How I don't understand. Like, if you're Washington, isn't this the easiest assignment ever to stop the Eagles?
Listen,
you just put everyone in the box. They're not playing the Eagles. They're playing the 2023 New York Giants.
It's gonna be a good day with Maggie and Perloff.
Yeah, it is.
That's totally AI.
Yeah, it is.
That's artificial intelligence.
We'll just sit back and wait for your response.
Wait, when was that? Was that this year?
Yeah, that was
right
before the conference championship game.
How many? Okay, let me read you some things about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts game log coming into the conference title game. Andrew Bogus.
No. You don't get to do this. You said you didn't say what you said. The game log doesn't matter.
I'm not even saying you were wrong. I'm saying that's what you said, though.
Yeah, and then you said you didn't say it.
13 for 21, 131 yards against Green Bay.
This doesn't mean anything.
15 for 20, 128 yards against the Rams.
Numbers.
Yeah. Then know what happened. They stacked the box. Washington and KC put every single defender they could to stop Saquon. And Hurts went off.
Again, no one's saying that you were wrong in your thought, but you said you didn't have the thought, and you had the thought, and you said it out loud.
Well, that was a long time ago.
That was December.
Last year.
Yeah, January.
Don't know what you guys are talking about. All I know is the Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
Because of your ninja work behind the scenes.
Okay. Let's change the subject pretty quickly here. We got the sequel bracket. By the way, I got in trouble for the sequel bracket last night, too. In a big way. From a renowned college football writer. Texted me and was upset about something we said on the show yesterday. Upset. Did not like it at all. He said, we're talking about Godfather Part 2, that we were giving away a major spoiler that Michael killed Fredo.
Oh, come on.
That's ridiculous.
Right? No, but he was serious. He's like, you can't do that. It's 3.5 hours in the movie. What if a young person hasn't seen it yet and is going to go watch it and now they know?
No,
you can't do that. There are certain spoilers that just are evergreen.
Yeah, the Jaws eats humans.
Darth Vader is Luke's father.
Right.
Sorry.
Darth Vader is Luke's father. Is Bruce Willis being, well, I don't want to say it. Bruce Willis in Sixth Sense. Is that allowed? It's about a 30-year-old movie.
That movie may not be as. I think you have to be like, if it was in a bracket, it had to be like a number 1, number 2 seed where that would work, right? So I don't know. Like Sixth Sense, I've seen it obviously, but I don't know if that works.
Okay,
I think like again, Avengers, like Thanos snaps half of humanity. Like I just think there's certain things you're gonna
absolutely. Okay. Let's get to our sequel bracket. Gotham City region. Godfather Part 2. Strong winner over Home Alone 2.
There's a plane waiting for us to take us to Miami in an hour. All right. Don't make a big thing about it. I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
But then he forgave him. They had Gabagool and everything was fine.
Yeah. Sorry about the spoiler there. Gabagool. All right, we got to get through this. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Oh, man. Took out Wrath of Khan Star Trek 2.
What are we even talking about this for? We just had a little man save us by blowing up 50 ships.
How little? Like this?
A little 1-inch man saved us.
Well, if he got closer, I'm sure he'd be much larger.
That's how eyesight works, you stupid raccoon.
Don't call me a raccoon!
All right, we got to bust through this. Top Gun Maverick destroys Lethal Weapon 2.
I can't be the only one that knows that Maverick flew with his old man.
That's enough.
Or that Maverick was flying when his old man...
Lieutenant, that's enough. That's enough.
You son of a... Come on! I'm cool. Hey.
That's enough.
He's not cut out for this mission.
It's enough.
You know it.
By the way, Goose died in Top Gun 1.
Oh,
Spoiler.
come on!
Lord of the Rings, Two Towers beats Creed 2, and actually a really close match, which I think is a credit to Creed 2.
Gandalf. Yes. That was what they used to call me. Gandalf the Grey. That was my name. Gandalf. I am Gandalf the White.
Huge spoiler. I mean, that book's only been out 200 years. What if you haven't gotten to it yet? All right. Later on, we have the Hoth region from Empire Strikes Back.
The Jedi Return, don't worry.
Gordon Damer's doing updates. He thinks, like you, it's going to be a Dark Knight versus Godfather 2 championship down the road in our sequel bracket. I kind of agree. Godfather 2 performing well despite all the spoilers. All right, coming up next, we have a great debate. I can't wait for this one, Bogues, because I'm going to win it. That's the best part of the great debate. That's next right here, Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Maggie is out sick. She is feeling fine. We had an emergency situation yesterday, but don't worry. I think she'll be fine later in the week. She said there was an adventure yesterday. We will hear more about that.
I need to know the details of her getting from here to home.
Yeah, apparently that was a thing.
And she disappeared.
Yeah.
I mean, she left here like 6:40, and we didn't see her again. She didn't run out of the building, but she never showed her face.
Well, I saw her.
Right.
You did see her? I did not see her.
Yeah, I saw her because I had to give her stuff back and put it in the desk. And it was very weird because, back there, the lights were all down in the office. So she's like in a distant couch. You can barely, it was almost like watching like a Bond villain or somewhere where you can only see like half their face because they're in the darkness. And I could see Maggie's shadow in the background being like, hey, just put the stuff in the office. Yeah, so I did see her. You could even see the gray even from the distance.
The Maggie gray. Andrew Bogus sitting in, and it's a good day for it because the New York Giants, his favorite team, have signed a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson. Bogus is trying to kill that label. Yeah, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
I know.
So I don't think we've reached a consensus here. Is it a certainty that they are still open to drafting a quarterback? I'm actually going back and forth here because having Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito in the quarterback room gives you a little flexibility where I think if you think, for example, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter is a superstar, a generational talent, at least you can walk out of this draft without a guy, or say Cleveland takes Jador Sanders or number 2. I think you can walk away without a quarterback and still feel okay if you're the Giants.
I don't think you can leave this draft without a quarterback. And to be honest, I don't know that you can leave the draft right now without Shador or Jackson Dart. Because I don't know that the other guys are too developmental. The other guys are too far away from being your guy.
Tyler Shuck's 25 years old. I hope he's not developmental.
But is he good enough?
Well, he's injury prone. That's more his story. He's talented. He's always been injury prone. So and he's older, so I'm not sure the upside is there.
Yeah,
but if you could get him in the second round.
You can get him in the second round, and maybe I'm overvaluing Jackson Dart. Maybe I'm putting too much stock in Jackson Dart. But once you get past him and you're in the Quinn Ewers Shuck neck of the woods, it feels different. I think, right or wrong, the Friday morning after round 1 here in New York, Giant fans would really like Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart. I don't know that they would like Abdul Carter and a true second-round pick who may never be your starting quarterback. That's not the same thing.
By the way, there are some draft experts who are coming around on Jackson Dart. There's some good tape out there. He obviously had some moments at the end of the year where he came up short.
Yeah.
But
God, imagine if he was good. What a name.
Jackson Dart, I mean, talking about pedigree, he was supposed to be the man.
Right.
Unlike he's a much bigger recruit than Shador. Way, way bigger than Cam Ward was a non-recruit out of high school. Basically, he never threw the ball in high school. No one knew who he was. Went to Incarnate Word. Jackson Dart's been the man for a while. Tough kid, too. I think there's reason to think he could be a first-rounder. Not an obvious one, but demand pushes these guys up. You know who Tyler Shuck would be a total recreation of for the Giants? Do you remember a quarterback they took in the mid-2010s? Davis Webb?
Of course.
Older, transfer, Texas Tech, just like Tyler Shuck.
He said Davis Webb?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Shuck's 6'5", Davis Webb was 6'5",
Again,
Texas Tech.
Not okay.
Well, Davis Webb, I think, last I checked, he's one of the hottest coaching
that is true.
candidates around. People love him as a coach.
Yeah, how was he as a starting quarterback?
Not good.
Yeah, not applicable.
Not
NA.
good. So we'll see. There's a lot of intrigue there at the draft. But I keep coming around to this fact that Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, and Ashton Genty remind me so much of the 1994 draft with Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, and Deion Sanders. If those guys are going to be, if you know those guys are going to be Hall of Famer, is it worth the risk on the quarterback? It's a very unusual draft. And you have to ask yourself, is Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, would they have been even first rounders last year? And will they be, or would they be first rounders next year? Next year's draft could be loaded. So I do think teams could at least have the debate with themselves. Do we want to wait for next year? If you're the Giants, can we survive with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito?
I mean, you have to have a line you can't cross. There has to be a place where you go, okay, the price now is too high for me to find a quarterback, and we'll wait till next year and we'll see what Russ and / Jameis can do. But that probably ends up with those two guys not being in charge of the Giants next year.
Yeah, definitely could happen.
Like if they're in position to draft Arch Manning, a different regime is doing it.
More importantly, I bragged early in the show that I was going to have a great Russell Wilson expression for the Giants.
And
his let's ride, his go Hawks, his, I guess, win the 7th in Pittsburgh. I'm not coming up with much, I'll be honest. I'm going to go into ChatGPT and see if I can figure this out. And I'm sure Russell Wilson will do the same thing. It's a kind of a funny cultural fit, New York City. And
is he going to be at Knicks games?
Probably.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right?
Well, more importantly, will Ciara be there?
And will he be a Met or a Yankee fan? Probably a Yankee fan, right?
No,
he'll probably do the 2-hat
Oh,
thing,
he is that
like
guy.
Mello and
No,
Eric
what?
Adams.
Was he? What's the team that he?
Rangers
that he would go to spring training for. Is he? I think he's still on the payroll there. Is he? He's done with the Rangers. Yeah, I could see him be a Yankee.
The payroll
fan.
is what? Like a.
Well, he used to go down to spring training.
No, I know, but you think like he still has a contract of some sort with them?
He for a long time had a contract with the Rangers.
I think they owned like his rights because they had drafted him.
So he would go down to spring training in the offseason and pretend he was playing, right?
No, but EJ is right. He is 100% going to have the split hat.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait for that.
That is right up his alley.
Yeah.
No, Russell Wilson did have some connection with the Yankees. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like they brought him down too. But I don't know for what.
I see him hitting in a Yankees uniform. It might have been symbolic.
Yeah, sort of Billy Crystal.
Well, Sporting News says former Yankee baseball player Russell Wilson coming back to New York. That's the headline. Now, I don't know if that's...
Did he get drafted out of high school by the Yankees?
I don't know if that's fake news or what. I'm trying to read this as fast as I can, but...
yeah, maybe...
Oh, he was traded to the Yankees. And
when the hell
the
did that
Rangers
happen?
picked Wilson in the minor league portion, adding him to their organization. Then in 2018, they traded his rights to the Yankees.
For who?
I'm sure a player to be named later,
Wait,
Manny.
in 2018?
2018. I remember this. I'm seeing this picture of him in the Yankees hat. Like I remember all this happening.
But how?
Yeah,
but
I told
he
you
was
his
Russell Wilson in 2018, NFL star quarterback. Why was he still tradable in baseball?
I tell you,
Make the
he was
salaries
still
match.
under some sort of deal with the
I'm seeing
first team.
that. I'm even seeing that Wilson did get in at bat for the Yankees in 2019, striking out against Max Fried of all people
in spring
Yankee.
training.
This is according to the Sporting News article. Again, forgive me if this is fake news.
I think it's vaguely coming back. To
No,
me.
no. This whole thing started because I'm like, I had a picture of Russell Wilson, so he's got to root for the Yankees.
Do you think Russell Wilson remembers that Max Fried was the guy that struck him out? If he showed him at a Yankee game, Max Fried was like, "Hey, remember me?" You think he would know?
Oh yeah.
I think there's no chance he remembers that it was actually Max Fried who struck him out.
No, I think baseball is important to Russell Wilson. I'll bet you that at bat meant a lot to him.
But we know Russ to be kind of like, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? He's very much just about like the optics and like maybe he doesn't care so much about like the people around him or anything beyond just whatever. That's the allegations at least. I feel like he definitely would show up, said, "Oh, I played against a guy in baseball and I struck out, but that's all I needed. I got at bat." I don't think he will remember that the guy that is now technically his teammate is the guy that struck him out and is only at bat.
I don't think he would remember the guy that was batting before him or after him. But I think he'll remember the guy who struck him out.
Okay.
You know how quarterbacks remember every play? Yeah, Russ will remember that. He takes a lot of pride in baseball, too. He hung on for a long time, Bogus.
This article says, I'm sorry to keep jumping around, but that Russell Wilson basically demanded a trade off the Rangers paperwork to the Yankees.
What, did he not like the roster construction around him? What is he complaining about?
He didn't see a future with the Rangers.
John Daniels and Brian Cashman have spent several weeks working to accommodate Wilson's wishes. When did this? How did I miss this? I can't comprehend how in 2018 he was still like on any contract to be traded in a real MLB way.
Well, we see NBA draft picks who never make it to the NBA. Like, the 56th overall pick in the 2007 NBA draft just got traded 2 days ago to be a salary filler. I mean, this kind of happens. We have precedents of this.
Oh, man. We almost had, I'm reading one story, a Russell Wilson versus Tim Tebow showdown. That would be fun. All right.
Oh, you mean on the baseball field?
On the baseball field.
Right, yeah.
Mets, Yankees. All right. It's a good spot to transition to today's great debate.
315 minor league at-bats in his career, like legitimate at-bats.
Yeah, he was a real baseball player.
I don't remember. I know he was a good player. I don't remember him having 315 at-bats over multiple springs in the minor leagues.
Yeah, I think he even went up to one of, I have this, I could be totally wrong. Is there like a Northwest minor league too, or an Alaska minor league that Russ did something with?
There is a Northwest League.
Yeah, he played in the for Tri-City of the Northwest League and Asheville of the South Atlantic League. Now, never to be in the majors. This is what he did. Yeah, that's what he did in during spring training.
Yeah, well, he was at Wisconsin when he was playing those years in the minor leagues.
Right.
You can't. You can't do that.
No.
Or maybe I don't know. I'm seeing. Oh no, sorry, he didn't. What I'm reading from the New York Post is Wilson played 2 years in the Rockies minor league system as a second baseman and reached a full season in 2011, but then focused on football after he transferred to Wisconsin.
Do you remember?
And then remember Jeff Samardzija did it. He did it at Notre Dame. He was playing. Wasn't he playing for Notre Dame and then pitching for the Cubs?
I don't think.
I don't know if he did that. Did he do it simultaneously?
I thought that was a summer thing, right? I thought he.
Oh, for the summer, but he didn't play. He didn't play.
No, not for the majors. This was minor league stuff I'm talking about.
By the way, can you believe that it was Chuck D'Amato who benched Russell Wilson for Mike Glennon? That one, I know Glennon was a fourth-round pick. He was a good player. And then, of course, Russ left NC State, went to Wisconsin, and still had baseball floating around. It all comes full circle.
Wilson struck out on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball from Freed. Come on, man. You got to get that bat speed up.
I'd like to see any of us try to hit a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Okay, great debate today. I think it's kind of relevant to this. We're debating, and help me out with this, EJ. If you could see any athlete of all time in any sport compete in today's game, which athlete would you pick? Is that a fair description of what we're going for?
The Great Debate Series.
Pearl, I think you described it accurately. Yes, so we're looking for retired athletes. If you could see one person play in today's game for whatever sport they're in, who would it be? In their prime.
Okay.
Not like at the end of the road, Ken Griffey. You're talking about Ken Griffey on the Mariners.
Right, not like Wizards, that. Michael Jordan. All
exactly.
right, let's start with you, Andrew Bogusch. Who do you want to see play in today's game?
Well, I'm going to dress for my pick. Baseball is my first love. So
Okay.
I've got to go back in time and pull one of the greatest baseball players ever into now to see just how good he was and would be in 2025.
There's a long drive, way back in center field, way back, it is. Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
Very ninja-like of Willie Mays to make that catch in center field. Picture me, Citi Field, afternoon game. I'm in a three-piece suit and a hat watching Willie Mays face Max Fried and not strike out like Russell Wilson.
So this works. We get to see the athlete play in today's game.
And I go in the other direction.
You don't get to go back and wear a suit and the hat.
I can do what I want. I'm paying $1.25 to get in, 5-cent hot dogs.
What is it about Willie Mays specifically? Why is he the one guy you want to see?
Well, I guess he kind of just all encompasses, for me at least, that like era of player that I grew up being told was the most amazing that there ever been. Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, just pure athletes, beautifully built, playing the game at an elite level in like almost the heyday of the sport. So, but I need to see Willie Mays do that now in 2025.
All right.
When athletes train better, the game is played completely differently. He wasn't seeing 4 pitchers in a game all throwing 99 miles an hour. There are a lot of questions about how baseball in the past goes forward, and I think Willie had the best chance of answering them.
All right. EJ Stewart, who do you got?
All right, so it's a little bit of a sacrilegious pick for a Jets fan, but as a football fan, I feel like who wouldn't want to see this guy dropping back and slinging passes all around the field in the NFL today?
Just before it ran out, shotgun, Marino throws deep downfield. It is caught by Fryer. Touchdown! Touchdown, Dolphins! opens. Marino to Fryer. Oh, courageous call. That's on 4th and 5. Unbelievable. What a game by Irving Fryer. What a game by Marino.
Dan Marino is my pick for the player I want to see play in their prime today. And a lot of this is because I feel like guys who I saw at the end of their career that looked washed, and I had to rely on my dad to tell me, hey, no, trust me, when he was good, he was good. Those are the guys that I run to when I think about this question. And to me, Dan Marino, who was throwing for 5,000 yards, 4.7, 4.4, and talking about the amount of yards he was throwing in the 80s. I mean, the 80s, he was just smashing records. He was putting up numbers that would be comparable to guys playing today. If you got to play with these rules where you can't touch the quarterback, where everything is so much more advantageous to the passing game, what would Dan Marino do? Could he throw for 6,000 yards? He threw for 5,084. I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility. So for me, Dan Marino, who many people say is the purest passer the game has ever seen, I want to see him, maybe not against the Jets, maybe this time playing for the Jets, but him dicing up current defenses today. Dan Marino is my pick for the retired player I want to see play in their prime today.
Yeah. Actually, if we were around Dan Marino at the Super Bowl, I feel like he'd give you a couple snaps right now. It looks great.
He does look great.
Manny, you're up.
All right, well, I'm going to go with one of the pioneers. Just like Bogus, baseball was my first love, and one of the names that I heard often and often and often was one George Herman Babe Ruth.
Well, I looked down at center field and I tore it. I said, I'm going to hit the next pitch ball right past the flagpole. Well, good Lord, must have been with
I just love that violin just speeding up at the end. But the reason that I picked Babe Ruth was not because, he hit 714 home runs. He's one of baseball's legends. I want to see him try to hit Shohei Ohtani. I want to see him try to go up against a 96-mile-per-hour slider with horizontal break of 22 inches. I want to see him go up against a 95-mile-per-hour changeup. When I fell in love with this sport, a changeup was 88 miles an hour. Now they are 95. I want to see Babe Ruth go up against these dudes nowadays that just sling the ball. I'll go with Babe Ruth.
Was anyone else prime for Manny to go with, Manny Rodriguez or somebody who played much, much closer to now as his throwback guy?
Manny Rodriguez was a hell of a baseball player back in the day.
Allen Houston or with Trust Brewer or something like that.
I grew up hearing of Jose Reyes.
This old-timey baseball player. His name is Derek Jeter.
Yeah, what was Derek Jeter like, guys? Tell me.
Born in 1974, all the way back in 1974.
Here, Andy Pettit was really good.
Manny, how many times have people called you Manny Ramirez?
Probably once a week, every week since I was 12 years old.
Yeah. You went the other way, called Manny Ramirez, Manny Rodriguez. Anyway, all right, Gordon Damer, you're up.
Ramirez.
This one is totally self-serving as a sports talk person, but I feel just to save the amount of time it would save us all, and I feel like we should all kind of be on board with this one. My pick would be this.
You're out of your mind. There is no way that LeBron will ever be Jordan. Nobody will ever be Jordan, okay?
Okay, LeBron's a better rebounder and passer.
Will you let me finish? Can you let me finish? Call me when LeBron has 6 championships.
Is that your only argument?
It's the only argument I need, Sean!
Yeah, that movie came out in 2011, and that argument still works. So I would say if we could have Michael Jordan in his prime, I know LeBron's not in his prime right now, but it would save us that whole argument of who's better, who's number one all time.
Wait, then you need two people in their prime because you need LeBron in their prime. Is that cheating?
No, it would not be cheating. But I feel like 99% of the people who argue LeBron never saw Jordan in his prime.
Right.
So if you brought Jordan back in it, I don't know if they would move the needle completely 100 to 0.
Do you want to meet Manny? He's one of those people.
Well, look. You also have not seen The Godfather, so it's hard for me to take advice.
You are correct.
From people who have not experienced
life. You
have
no idea with what I deal with on a daily basis. It's unbelievable.
Godfather, Rocky, never seen him. Heard of him, never seen him.
You know, this great debate series started out with Jordan LeBron. And now you've hijacked this topic by making it a Jordan LeBron, the ultimate sports debate. But I get it. That would settle everything. We get a 25-year-old Jordan, and let's just add a 25-year-old LeBron or 27-year-old. That would be something. Oh, man. I mean, it would be something because if we'd only get 5 finals games, Jordan would probably knock them out in 5.
Probably.
Maybe 4. I don't even know. Anyway,
3.5.
I'm obviously a Jordan guy. Okay.
Bulls in 3, bro.
I'll wrap it up with
LeBron wouldn't show up. Sorry.
my guy's more of an experimental one because this one I think we should all want to see. What would Wilt Chamberlain look like in today's game?
Was there a point where just the other team left and made sandwiches on the bench? I mean,
well, I really wish it was. Actually, they were really very embarrassed about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so they were mad at me, and I was just out there trying to have fun.
At 85 points, did you start to feel bad a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And the people
I'll just try and miss this one 100 points.
And I did that. I know. I did that. Then my mother scolded me when I got home. You should be ashamed of yourself. It was not an easy night.
Was that Wilt Chamberlain on the Conan O'Brien show?
Correct.
I had no idea that happened. That's pretty cool. Two of my favorites. Wilt Chamberlain, of course, talking about the 100-point night. Scored 50 points a game one season. We still do not know, was it just because everyone around him was terrible, or was he that great? Obviously, incredibly athletic, track star at Overbrook High School.
Firemen and plumbers, man.
Yeah, but he was so much, it's kind of like Babe Ruth. He was so much better than everyone around him. I think he would have been fantastic in today's game because he would have adjusted. The moves he had back then were kind of weird. He had he would reach behind his head, and he wasn't allowed to dunk at certain points. I think he'd be incredible because of his athleticism. I would love to see him now. I don't think he scores 100. Of course, my guy Adam Sandler, his biggest routine was, what were the other guys doing when Wilt was scoring 100? Hey, Wilt, my wife's in the crowd. Can you let me take a shot here? Andrew, you got to see this Anthony Edwards kid play. It's the most amazing thing I ever saw. I think, and then Taylor does an impersonation of the other huddle where guys go to the coach, Coach, Wilt's got 80. You think we might want to double team him? Anyway, yeah, that was a big Sandler joke. I would love to see, how do you guys think Wilt would do in today's game? I think he'd be amazing.
I think he'd be awesome.
Yeah.
He'd be awesome, but would he be head and shoulders clear of the rest of the league?
He'd be by far the best center in the NBA, I think. That's how I would see it.
Will Chamberlain step back behind the 3-point arc?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
There are clips. I mean, people, again, because there's not a lot of video. There are clips of Wilt shooting turnaround fadeaways, not from obviously 3-point range, but from 10 feet, 15 feet.
Yeah.
Like this idea that he was just this big, strong guy that just dunked every time. It's just false.
I don't know. That 3-second violation might hinder his career.
He had so much skill.
Honestly, Bill Russell and Kareem, obviously, in this conversation, too. I'd like to see how Bill Russell's a weird one because he was only 6'9" and didn't have much of an offensive game. He might not translate the same way, but he figured out a way to win. Kareem would be sick right now. Imagine he'd be Wemby.
Yeah, Kareem would be awesome, too. I am of the theory that any great player of their generation, especially with basketball, but I think it also applies in football, they'd probably be great in this era, too.
All right, you can give us a call, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Which athlete from the past would you like to see play in today's game? There are a lot of choices. We left a lot on the table. We'll get more into some of those athletes next. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
To claim this.
He'll spill his deep quote, y'all messed up bad. Took the wrong quote, now the whole squad's mad. Drag Maggie's name through the dirt so quick when it was Perloff talking all that spit.
Now Steelers Nation's got torches lit, thinking Maggie's lost her wit. But y'all don't fact check for a bit, so let's talk about who's really full of Steelers Depot, get your facts in check. Blame the wrong one, man, show some respect. Perloff said it, but Maggie gets wrecked. Now your credibility's looking suspect. Lifetime contract, yeah, Perloff's take. The Depot's rushing just to make clickbait. Didn't even bother to hit replay. Now Maggie's out here fighting the hate. Now Twitter's wild like she's on crack. Just cause Depot ain't watched the track. Y'all spread a lie, now it won't go back. Hope y'all enjoyed that cloud contract. Where's Bellotti, or still MIA? Calls it a job, but he don't stay. Skip more shifts than Depot skips facts. Maybe he in
truth got a secret pact. Now Steelers fans acting like they found the pipe, like Maggie's out here smoking at night. Just cause people got the names all wrong, now they think she's chief and that strong. Steelers Depot, get your facts in check. Blame the wrong one, man, show some respect. Perloff said it, but Maggie gets wrecked. Now your credibility's looking suspect. Next time you want to twist the tape, try listening before you make that mistake. Depot disaster, that's your name. Bloody still ghosts the game. I did it. In the game for 37 years, making beats, rocking shows, facing all my fears. Now I'm here, dropping knowledge for the crew. Got a feel of break music that'll blow right through. I'll write a theme 10 times, better you'll see. Catchy hooks and rhythm, it's guaranteed. But there's one thing that's always getting to me. Beat up a lie, where's he been? No guarantee. On the realist, putting tracks on fire, spitting bars that'll take you higher and higher. Been in the studio while Peter's been gone. Now I'm here, dropping beats all night long. I'll write a few 10 times, better you'll see. Catchy hooks and rhythm, it's guaranteed. But there's one thing that's always getting to me. Beat up a lie, where's he been? No guarantee. I'm the realist, yeah, that's my name. Got hits for days and I'm changing the game. While Peter's still ghosting, missing the show, I'm out here shining, watching my fame grow. The realist, got the touch so smooth. I'm the one with the moves, making grooves. 37 years in the business, no breaks. I got the sound that makes the earth shake. I'm the realist, it's what they call me. While the light is somewhere missing in a scene, I'm turning up the heat, making sure it's known. While he's out there acting like he's never shown. I'll write a few 10 times, better you'll see. Catchy hooks and rhythm, it's guaranteed. But there's one thing that's always getting to me. Beat up a lie, where's it been? No guarantee. I'm the realist, I don't need no gimmicks. Making timeless tracks, no need for limits. But Peter's still missing, just taking his time. While I'm dropping gold, making hits sublime. Tracy Morgan courtside, feeling real nice. Cheesing for the camera, sipping on Sprite. Nick's looking hot, the garden's alive. Then suddenly, oh no, man died. Vomits flying, they hit the floor. Took out a fan in row 4. Kenny, I was trying to call the play, but Clyde just mutters, get out the way. Rolling out in the wheelchair, what a scene. Projectile blasting like a damn machine. Nick's still winning, but Tracy's losing. Belotti's still missing, man, that's confusing. Start gushing, medics in a sprint. Aaron Judge looking like what's that set? EJ and Manny covering their eyes. Bruh, this is worse than the Porzingis trade twice. Maybe it was the hot dogs, maybe the beer.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Great Debate Wednesday. Maggie and Perloff show. Maggie out. Andrew Bogus sitting in. Today's great debate. Which athlete from the past would you most like to see play in today's game? Had some really interesting choices. I went with Wilt. Bogus went with Willie Mays. Manny went with Steven Strasburg. No, who'd you go with? Oh, Babe Ruth. EJ went Dan Marino. And Gordon Damer went with Michael Jordan to finally settle Jordan versus LeBron. EJ, we have some interesting nominations in the YouTube chat, Infinity Sports Radio Network YouTube page.
Yeah, the chat always good stuff here. So Daly says Larry Bird.
Oh, that's a great one.
Great one. Also, P. Maddie says Bo Jackson as a pick, which I thought he would be a good one.
Which sport?
Great question. P. Maddie didn't specify. Also, Joe Midlick, which. If that's a funny name, then apologies. Sorry if you need to dump that. Jim Brown was his pick.
What's his name?
Should I say it again? Midlick?
Oh, okay.
All right.
Joe Midlick? Yes. I mean, it could be his real name.
Valid, I guess.
Also, Titan Maniac, which I like this one considering boxing is kind of not a big sport anymore, but was during this time. Sugar Ray Robinson.
An old school boxer. Interesting.
Yes, and in the Twitch chat, Gory Splat says Barry Sanders.
Can I suggest peak Russell Wilson now on the Giants? Is that allowed? No?
All right. Give us a call. 888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4476. You know, the guy I wanted to see was, first one to jump to my mind was Vince Carter, but he played like 4 years ago. So I was thinking, like, that doesn't really fit the thing. I just loved, he was my favorite player to watch in his prime. Another name that jumped in was Zion Williamson, who's 25. I sure as heck would like to see that guy play, but probably not going to get that. All right, we are in a little bit going to update our sequel bracket. We have the Hoth region. Of course, Hoth, the planet from Empire Strikes Back.
Is that the thing that Maggie had such a hard time saying?
Hoth, yes.
Okay. I thought it was
I have no idea.
No, it's definitely Hoth, but she seemed to have an issue with this one,
I haven't
right?
seen a movie before 2013, so how am I supposed to know?
If it doesn't have CGI in it, it's not for you.
It doesn't have caption either. I need subtitles.
Yeah, I am so happy to have Gordon Damer here for the movie conversation because we are in the same sort of wheelhouse of movies. We'll get to Gordon with updates in a second. First, let's take a call. Great athlete that you would want to see from the past. Play today. This is one of my favorite players of all time, and I should have said this. Mike in Seattle. Who do you got?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Mike. Athlete you want to see play today?
Earl Campbell, man. I would love to see him run over these young players today.
Earl Campbell highlights are the best highlights that there are.
They are.
Because, first of all, the uniform technology was so bad then that everything ripped off his body. He was so awesome. We needed Earl Campbell. That's I actually am changing my pick, maybe. No, I can't do that, but that's a good one, Mike. Thank you.
Right on.
Yes. You got any Earl Campbell fans here besides me? I know
Love
Gordon.
Earl Campbell. One of my favorite highlights.
Yeah.
And I feel like he would I don't think there's much of a conversation of whether he would translate or not. You know, like what you were saying about Wilt. Does his game translate to the modern game?
See, I don't know. Running backs are asked to do so much now. They have to, pick up the blitz.
Yeah, they would just ask him, go run over those 7 guys.
But who's like Earl Campbell now? Nobody.
Henry's the closest, but he's not Earl Campbell.
That's a good one. Actually, he's very close.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy, right? But I think the violence that Campbell ran with, nobody runs with.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, let's get to some updates. Gordon Damer, what do you got?
All right, well, last year, of course, the Steelers went to the playoffs, went 10-7, and they did so playing 2 starting quarterbacks in the course of the season. One of them was Justin Fields, who's now with the Jets. The other one is with the New York Giants. Russell Wilson getting a 1-year deal with Big Blue, $10.5 million guaranteed. Wilson turns 37 in November. This move comes 4 days after the Giants also signed Jameis Winston. So where does that leave the Giants in regards to the draft? New York has the 3rd overall pick. Adam Schefter thinks that Shedeur Sanders could be the pick.
They were linked to him all along. They've done a ton of work on him. They spent a lot of time in Boulder. He had the New York Giants cleats before the Alamo Bowl. He's having a catch with Malik Neighbors at the Heisman Trophy presentation. There's been a lot of smoke and a lot of connections for Shedeur Sanders to New York, and he's been raised to kind of perform with the bright lights in the big city, and I could just see it happening.
And that sound courtesy of the Adam Schefter podcast.
So Schefter, I listened to this podcast, and now he's pretty sure Shedeur is headed to the Giants. On the same podcast a month ago, he was positive. He said 100% the Cleveland Browns were going to take a quarterback, and he completely is backtracking on that, just like I backtracked on my terrible Jalen Hurts take earlier in the show.
You haven't backtracked yet.
Well,
you tried to double down on it.
Okay.
And ignore the issue.
Regardless, Adam Schefter said that the Browns were taking a quarterback. Then he just said on the same podcast, things change. Now he's saying Shedeur Sanders looks like a New York Giant. But in a month, is he going to say that things change?
Still 29 days until the draft, so there's still time for the winds to shift.
I just saw it's really interesting. Right now, it feels like Cam Ward, number 1 to the Titans, number 2, Abdul Carter, the Browns, and number 3, Shedeur Sanders to the Giants. I think a lot could change in a month. It never, ever works out that obvious.
No, and if you buy into betting odds, Shedeur Sanders right now has the best odds to go 3rd overall. He's plus 105 at DraftKings. As you mentioned, Cam Ward, the heavy favorite to go 1st. Abdul Carter, heavy favorite to go 2nd. Of course, the Giants could just do the most hilarious thing ever and just draft a running back with the 3rd pick.
Ashton Genty. Oh, my gosh. Bring back Dave Gettleman. Bogus, that's a great point. That would be the funniest, best thing ever.
Giants fan, Andrew Bogish.
I'm not even listening anymore. I'm checking out like Perloff does. during updates.
That's not fair.
That's a low blow. Below the belt.
It's what happens. Imagine being me on most days.
I would rather not.
How the turntables have.
Exactly. Well said.
Stefon Diggs, he is still ticked at the Bills. Next year, he'll get a chance to play the Bills. He signs a 3-year deal with the Patriots, $69 million, $26 million of which is guaranteed.
Yeah, Bogus, you had a good point. We actually have to see that contract. Is he really getting $26 million guaranteed? Because it does seem like a lot. I mean, basically, it makes him in the mid-20s one of the highest-paid wide receivers. A 31-year-old coming off an ACL in Week 8 has less value to me than, say, Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith or a high-end wide receiver too.
Yeah, it definitely seems unique. Like there's definitely some high-level accounting going on in all of this. Yeah. I mean, $26 million guaranteed doesn't feel like a lot. Plus, they have like almost all the salary cap space.
But it does feel like a lot because Stefon Diggs, it's March. Obviously the market did not want him in the first go-round of wide receivers.
No, I guess what I mean by that is I am basically to the point now where I don't think anything actually matters because guys get cut, dead money doesn't matter. Oh, this is a signing bonus now, so I have cap space. Like the Browns didn't have any cap space, and then they changed Deshaun Watson's like what they called his money, and now they have $25 million cap space. Like I don't think it's all funny money. It's all fake numbers. So okay, $26 million guaranteed is not going to preclude them from doing anything else. He might not catch a pass for them, but they're never going to go, oh, we're still stuck behind this Stefon Diggs deal. We can't get out of it.
Are you sure you don't mean that nothing matters existentially? Is that what you're getting at?
Nothing matters in any form or fashion.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that's where you're headed.
Yeah, it's just nothing matters.
Yeah, not just contracts. We're talking about life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, your silly votes for movies, doesn't matter.
Politics.
That landed perfectly back on your desk. That was incredible.
Gordon Damer,
that matters.
Give us something a little more positive than Bogus's life outlook.
All right, Jimmy Butler back in Miami last night. First time
Very
since
positive.
the trip. That's what
Maggie's
you go
good
to,
stories.
and it was.
I got great news, guys.
It was a bit of a rough night.
Career curmudgeon back in Miami.
Tyler will pull it. Nice job by Anderson. Up to Anderson. He flips it up and in over the top of Jimmy in slow motion.
Yeah, with 112.86, Butler had 11 points in his return to South Beach. So
I was looking at the standings. The Warriors are now really in danger of going back into the play-in. I had them. Maggie and I did a debate about 2 weeks ago. Are the Warriors a legit title contender? If they're in the play-in, it just feels like the West is so tough. That's a steep climb.
I can make the case that they should want to be in the play-in.
Yeah, to get the 7-2 matchup.
You want the Rockets. Yeah, I think if they play the Thunder, the Thunder or the Nuggets, they're getting them out of there.
Wouldn't you want the 6 seed then?
No, well, the 6 right now, Denver's 3. So if you get 6, you're playing Denver.
Oh, I
Denver.
see. Oh,
I think Denver's
are...
getting them out of there. But if you play the Rockets at the 2 seed and you're a 7, if you win that first play-in game, I think you would prefer that.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is you're going to have to face these teams at some point. Same thing with the Lakers. I mean, we were really high on the Lakers, and now, man, a month changes all that. All that optimism feels somewhat gone.
Yeah, but I mean, to your point earlier about how the regular season just doesn't feel like it matters that much.
Nothing matters.
Teams that's a good point.
Yep.
Also, to your point, Andrew, when these teams get into the playoffs, they sometimes all the struggles of the regular season fade away because guys
doesn't matter.
All of a sudden, guys care.
The regular
a whole
season
lot more.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Playoffs matter though.
A little bit.
All I got to tell you is I don't want to be in the West. I'm looking at this field. It's insane. There is no easy path out of this thing.
No, that's why. I mean, I felt a little better about the Lakers than the Warriors, but I don't feel great about either team.
Don't worry, Bronny just put up 39 points for the South Bay Lakers a couple of nights ago.
There's the cavalry.
Yeah, I had to admit, though, when I know the Warriors were 41-31, and I pulled up the NBA standings just to see where they would put them in the East, and it actually doesn't change their spot that much. What changes is what comes after them.
Yeah, it's the play-in in the East is just an abomination.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The first 6 teams are pretty good.
Yeah.
Sixers still have a chance for that play-in the East, don't they?
Yeah. By the
Paul
way,
George working hard.
Yeah.
Speaking of nothing matters.
Minnesota and the Clippers are in the play-in. I mean, either of those teams would be a high seed in the East. Now that Kawhi's back, it's so funny, and they're not going to get out of the play-in. Gordon?
Knicks made some history last night, beat the Mavericks 128-113. That was not the history, though. The history was that they had 2 players both record triple-doubles in the same game.
This definitely matters.
Yes. Karl Anthony Towns, 26, 12, and 11. Josh Hart, 16, 12, and 11.
First time
Hart's
in Knicks
ninth-
franchise history?
Yeah, first time ever. And Hart's is his 9th triple-double of the season. That moves him past Clyde Frazier for the most in a single season in Knicks
sacred.
history.
But not first time ever for any team. You're
No,
saying
no,
just
just
for
no,
the
just
Knicks.
for the
Just
Knicks.
for the Knicks.
Russell
just
Westbrook
for the
and Jokic did it twice this year. So this is, I guess,
Oh, okay.
the third time this has happened this season, I believe.
But, the Knicks are the Knicks. I mean, they are the face of the league. So when they do something for the first time, that really matters.
And speaking of things not mattering, college basketball head coaching contracts clearly don't matter. Richard Pitino.
What's it like having a head coach?
He leaves New Mexico. If you win a game in the tournament, sometimes that's the worst thing that can happen to your program because your coach is leaving as soon as the next day comes along. Richard Pitino, he leaves New Mexico, takes the head coaching job at Xavier.
Yeah. Or if your dad is good, too, that kind of hurts, apparently.
How about being St. Francis, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
winning
man.
the NEC? You're in men's March Madness, and then you come home and they go, guess what, guys?
Yeah.
We're going down to D3.
Oof.
So enjoy this last year with the big boys.
I guess the lights were too bright.
Bye-bye.
It could be the state of college sports, though, the way the finances
This
are
is
working
going to
out.
happen.
It could be a trend.
Can't wait for Iona to become a D3 school.
It's
Yeah.
a very specific wish.
Well, it's right there, right next to my house. So what do you want me to say?
He's still going to make the Iona College Rick Pitino joke.
Iona University, buddy.
All right, Gordon, thank you very much. Give us a call if you want to weigh in on the great debate. Old-timey player you want to see play in today's game. Not that old-timey. EJ went with Dan Marino.
EJ went with Steven Strasburg.
Yeah. Bogus had the line of the day. Bogus had the line of the day. He wants to see prime Russell Wilson play for the Giants. But give us a call, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Keep them coming. Maggie and Perloff Show.
Let's ride.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Manny had the tickets, Rangers on the ice. Said, Perloff, my guy, it's gonna be nice. But halfway through, Perloff starts to yawn, checking his watch. Something feels wrong. He leans in close, whispers with dread, Manny, I gotta go, it's almost time for bed. Manny said, wait, the game's still tight. Perloff said, yeah, but my TV's on tonight. Perloff left Manny stranded all alone. Took the last train, didn't even check his phone. Rangers in a shootout, Manny lost his ride, but Perloff was home, TV remote at his side. Meanwhile, Lottie was supposed to be there, but guess what? He vanished into thin air. Maybe he's sick, maybe he's fine, or maybe he's just avoiding the grind. Manny's still texting, waiting for a sign. Perloff's in pajamas, feeling just fine. Pilates a mystery, where could he be? Probably still dodging responsibility. Perloff left Manny stranded all alone. Took the last train, didn't even check his phone. Rangers in a shootout, Manny lost his ride, but Perloff was home, TV remote at his side. Manny walked home, cursing his fate. Perloff's on the couch, feeling just great. Pilates MIA, lost in the void. One more shift that's skillfully avoided. Pilates is coach, Perloff on the couch. Manny's at Penn Station, trying not to slouch.
This is Daly. I'm out here. And Cap, I think you're great.
Well, Bobby Burke, week 2. Yo, Daly in the chat saying Captain's got a plan.
straight. Ain't no wires in my hat. Zach Gebb, lagging Ryan's gone static. Steppenwolf's frozen, it's cinematic. But Maggie and Perloff, the stream be magic. Clear as the day, got a feeling ecstatic. Am I the villain or just a goat? Infinity Sports, running in my notes. Daily you tripping, I'm pressing these buttons. Ain't my fault that Bilotti ain't rushing. Kaplan ain't crashing, Kaplan ain't stopping. My stream's so smooth, man, they never be dropping. Bilotti still ghosting, snakes ain't arrived. Dudes at home, while I keep it live. Sabotage, man, it's just a joke. I make it run clean, or your Wi-Fi's broke. But let me set the record straight. Ain't no wires in my head. Zach job logging, Ryan's go static. Steppenwolf's frozen, they cinematic. But Maggie Perloff, the stream beam
1 minute remaining.
Clear as a day, got a feeling ecstatic. Not a villain or just a goat. Infinity Sports, running in my notes. Daily you tripping, I'm pressing these buttons. Ain't my fault that Bilotti ain't rushing. Kaplan ain't crashing, Kaplan ain't stopping. My stream's so smooth, man, they never be dropping. Bilotti still ghosting, snakes ain't arrived. Dudes at home, while I keep it live.
I'm sorry, Andrew Kaplan. I got a little out of control.
30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Uber Eats is delivering game day deals from hundreds of your local favorites all week. Order now on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
All right. Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Andrew Bogus sitting in for Maggie. Great debate Wednesday. Which old-timey athlete would you want to see play today? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. See, we took this debate in very different ways. I think you need to see how would Babe Ruth, who was Manny's choice, how would he, have you always wondered how would that guy do in today's game? Because he was not in great shape. I don't know how he hit 60 home runs. It feels like a different game.
It's the first thing that I think about every morning, Pearl.
Yeah, me too. There was a good one in the chat. Larry Bird, would his game translate today? Imagine if he had the three-point line. I mean, he did have the three-point line. Imagine if they shot like that.
Right, he could take 12 a night.
I don't know what kind of player he would be, because he's also a great rebounder, a great passer. Magic Johnson, it's not really, the game is not really where he's at now. He was more of a mid-range assist guy. Would he be as effective? I don't know.
He would. EJ said it the best before. It's like the truly elite players would stay elite at any time. It's just how elite, I guess, or like, are they the best player anymore?
Yeah,
or are they just one of a handful?
The game has definitely changed and will change again. You know, they want to change the rules on three-point shot because the three-point shots become so big.
Well, not even, to me, the physicality and the size of people and the shape that athletes are in now, that to me is where I think the older folks might end up losing. Because Wilt, no matter what, like part of Wilt's production was just being a different athlete than the rest of the guys on the floor.
Be taller.
And that wouldn't be the case anymore.
But there were other tall guys. He wasn't the only 7-foot guy.
But he would not have that unique, like, solo position in today's game. Like, there are other athletic, long people now.
Yeah. No, I hear you, but I think he would have been he was a superior athlete. He was super fast, could jump super high, really had a lot of hand-eye coordination. There aren't a lot of 7-footers.
No,
like
I just
that.
feel like there's less freaky guys than there used to be. And people and they also the baseline is different.
You mean there are less freaky guys that they don't? There are many guys like that, so they're not freaks, is what you mean. Okay,
yeah,
I hear you. Willie Mays, I thought was a great choice, but I kind of feel like we all know what Willie Mays would be in today's game. He'd be awesome. There's no doubt in my mind. Where Babe Ruth, I really don't know. So that's why you're wrong.
Thanks.
And I
so
should
then is
win
Jordan
this poll.
out too?
Yeah, kind of. Jordan's a little too recent.
Okay. What about Strasburg?
Strasburg. How old is Steven Strasburg? He's one of those guys.
29.
Maggie and I always laugh at these guys that we think are older or still, like Cam Newton's still 35 years old and retired. RG3's 35.
I think Strasburg literally officially retired like a year or two ago.
He's 36.
Damn.
And is he officially retired?
Yeah.
Probably has a lot of money. Okay.
Shout out DC.
Andrew Bogus, did you see a clip yesterday that was interesting for its content, but was also interesting for where it was? J.J. McCarthy, second-year quarterback of Minnesota Vikings, was down in Mexico at a golf course being interviewed by Kay Adams.
Ay, muy bien.
Yeah, which struck me as like, what? Well, I didn't know why J.J. McCarthy was speaking, but it's an NFLPA golf tournament, and he actually has real shaggy hair now. He's almost mullet-like.
Oh.
And he also looks like he put on weight.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, he looked big.
Looked a little thicker.
But he had some interesting comments that are making the rounds in NFL circles about whether he's the starter in Minnesota.
I feel like we as a fan base or even media found out like you're the guy, the guy recently. When did you know? When did they tell you, or when was that message to you?
They haven't told me, and I'm happy they didn't, because I try to earn it every single day, and I never want that to be given to me, and it's such a privilege and opportunity to give me that chance, and I'm just going to make the most of it every single day.
Andrew Bogus, do you like this attitude from your young quarterback?
Oh, I like his attitude, and it doesn't bother me or lead me in any different direction on their future that they haven't explicitly told him this all yet. He's still the guy. We know he's the guy. So I like that he's approaching it like he's not. I like that they're approaching it like he's not, like making him still kind of earn it. But I mean, all the signs point to him being QB1. But he's handling it well, and he also said he's physically fine from the knee. So let's ride.
He sounded a little tryhard to me, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
This,
but everybody sounds like that.
No, he's fine. That's what you want your quarterback to sound like. It's really interesting to me that it's a different calculus now that Aaron Rodgers is reportedly not the choice for the Vikings. I don't think you would hear him talking like this. I'm not sure what he would say. Say Aaron Rodgers was there. How would he answer that question? Obviously, I think he'd be the second stringer.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different scenario. Like,
It's
what
just
if anybody else was there?
It's interesting to me that the Vikings were willing to put him on the bench, and now they are obviously all in on him as a starter.
Willing to because you thought they were really close to Rodgers?
I think...
Because I think if they really wanted Rodgers, he'd be there.
I think they probably made a lowball money offer to Aaron Rodgers. I bet you they said, "Oh, come here for one year, $10 million." You don't think they even did that? Because they were in on Daniel Jones.
Well, but they wanted Daniel Jones to back up J.J. McCarthy. Yes. That's why Sam Darnold's not there. This is what I've said from what we said going back into the big offseason. This is what they wanted to happen. They wanted somebody to give Sam a lot of money that they would just be like, we can't do that. So now JJ's the guy. Jones would have been the security blanket. And they gave Aaron Rodgers a thought because he's Aaron Rodgers and he's not there, which means they don't want him. Because they make so much sense for him except for J.J. McCarthy. So if they wanted him, he'd have to want them back, and he'd already be there. This would be over with.
I don't think it's that simple because they let it hang out there for a long time that Aaron Rodgers was in the mix, and they knew what they were doing. I think that they were, A, thinking about it, B, I'll bet you they explored money with his agent.
I think they thought about it, and I think maybe there was a price that they were willing to go down that road. But maybe it was also a price that they knew he never was actually going to get to.
Maybe there was a talk, are you willing to be a backup too?
Or at some point, JJ takes over.
Yeah, and I'm sure Rodgers was not interested in that. Then again, all the reports say they're not interested this time. Maybe he circles back around. By the way, he was in Pittsburgh, Aaron Rodgers, on Friday.
Yeah.
Still nothing. Still no word on a contract. Taking his time. No word. We talked about a mystery team. EJ and I thought maybe the Dolphins or the Niners. No word on that. It's sort of just floating out there.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at went through the standings yesterday just to make sure I wasn't missing a team. And I'm having a hard time thinking of who really is in the mix here. Like, I don't share the same, Brock Purdy confusion that you do. The Dolphins, to me at least, the Dolphins make more sense than the Niners, or I think would be more open to trying something. But he's not going to start week 1 over Tua. Like they're not making a change. So he's not going to go to those places because he's not going to want to be somebody's backup.
Yeah, you're probably right, but it's he's maybe waiting for an injury. Maybe he'll come in.
Or like Kirk Cousins,
2
he's
weeks
waiting to see
before
what
the
the
season.
draft, how
Yeah.
the draft plays out.
Remember, Favre came to the Jets in the first time in the first week in August, so there is time, and he seems to like to follow the Favre narrative. All right, coming up, we got to fix college basketball. There's definitely a problem, but I don't know if coaches are telling the truth or being honest about what the real problem is. Lots to solve here. That's next. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
College basketball, we have a problem. Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Andrew Bogus sitting in for Maggie, who is a little under the weather. She should be back tomorrow. She's doing fine. I'm sure she's listening right now. I'd be curious her thoughts on this topic. The transfer portal in college basketball has gone bananas. It opened on March 24th, closes toward the end of April. What's the numbers you're hearing on how many players have entered the transfer portal, Andrew Bogus?
Definitely over 900. Probably crossed 1,000 by now.
Seems like a lot of players.
That's a lot of players.
So
I would point out, though, that there's a chunk of that number that are kids who have been fired, that have been told they have to leave. This is not, I know it's easy to go, everyone's out there looking for $5 more, but there are coaches that kick kids or they agree that they have to go. Like, it's not just kids out there with their hands out looking for something. There are, I don't know what the number is. Is it a third? Is it a quarter? Is it less than that? It's not, I don't think it's much more than that. But there's an actual number inside the bigger number of people who are in the portal because they don't want to be in the portal. But they were told they got to go.
So coaches have been railing against the transfer portal, I'd say, for the last 4 years consistently. It's been a constant drumbeat. It's getting louder and louder. And this offseason, teams that are eliminated from the tournament, it feels like the first thing the coach does is rail, or even if you're not eliminated, is rail on the transfer portal. The latest guy is Maryland coach Kevin Willard, who just went off. Was this yesterday, EJ?
Yeah, this was yesterday.
Yeah, okay. So Kevin Willard, here he is commenting on the transfer portal.
The transfer portal is crazy. There's kids asking for $2-3 million right now. And the money has exploded crazy because we have no guardrails, we have no rules. It's been as badly implemented of a rule as ever in any sport. And kids or agents are taking advantage of it. You know, every player has an agent. Every agent is calling every school and saying, hey, you know, I got 1.2 million here. Give me 1.4 and we're gone.
By the way, doesn't every coach have an agent? And why would every player not have an agent? I'm not sure I understood.
I also don't believe those numbers. And I'm not like calling Coach Willard like anything other than like just, I think all of these numbers are fabricated. I don't believe it when they say somebody signed for X amount of dollars at a school. I don't believe it. I know that these conversations are happening and there's bidding wars and whatnot, but the money, nothing matters. Like, are they bargain? Is it 1.2 over 1.4? I don't know. But I don't trust everyone to be completely honest in all of these equations because they're trying to prove their point. So things get embellished, decimal points get moved, zeros get added.
Yeah, I mean, that was on the Team 980 and Odyssey Station in D.C., by the way. I think here's one problem I have. College basketball coaches are recruiters. They're so used to lying that I don't even think they know what the truth is. I've been around a lot. I've always thought, this is going to sound mean, but the least ethical coaches in all of sports are college basketball coaches. I think college football, as my friends at the CBS, Pick Six podcast say, the sport is built on a lie. You know, basically they've been paying players for a century.
Right.
And I just think they're so used to lying that they're trying to manipulate it. The reality is in my mind, the players should be getting paid. Now, I do agree there's a major problem about them not staying at their schools. But the only solution is one that I don't think these coaches want either, which is collective bargaining. there should be some sort of structure. And to do that, the players all have to get together and agree to something, and you need a union, which is not caught on in college sports yet. So I'm not exactly sure, what does Kevin Willard want to happen here? The players are getting paid. That genie is out of the bottle.
Yeah.
So how does he expect it to work? Does he want to control the prices? That's called a monopoly. That's not happening. So I'm not exactly sure what his solution is.
I mean, I would certainly like transparency. Like I think, like the NFL or NBA or wherever, I think we should be able to look up these agreements. I think these agreements all need to be on paper. They need to be like sent into somewhere centrally, whether it's the league or the conference or whatever. But because another problem that is developing is a lot of this stuff is just verbal, and a kid gets promised this, and then they don't get their money. And we had 6 or 7 FSU players are suing Leonard Hamilton. This is a real problem too. Is that you can complain all you want, and it's valid that agents are doing this and doing that. But there are also schools who are going, hey, I'll give you $500K, I'll give you $750, I'll give you $1 million, and then there's no reason, they don't have there's no mechanism in the end to make them pay, or for you to go, hey, you didn't give me my money, I need my money. So yes, we need guardrails. The frustrating part of these conversations, it always ends up back on, we need to police the players. The players are the ones who are out of control.
Right.
And I don't always hear coaches talking about how the university side of things needs to get policed here as well. But it would matter. To me, it matters. If I could go and, there's all these sites now. There's Cots baseball contracts. There's SportTac. There's all these places where I just Google a name and a contract, and I can find almost every detail, every line of those deals. I should be able to look up at some point and see that A.J. DeBanza is going to get $8 million from BYU next year, because that's good for everybody. Everybody should know what's actually going on, and we should also know what A.J. DeBanza is owed and make sure that he gets what he's owed too.
Okay. We're talking kind of open free agency here, but I don't think that solves the problem for Kevin Willard, because the agents are still going to call and say, give me more money. By the way, $1.2 million, that might be a fair price for a good basketball player.
But you just used the word might, because we don't know what the actual price is.
Do. The agents know.
They don't, not necessarily.
The teams and the agents know. There are common sources that these teams have.
But when we have these conversations in any other sport, I know what Justin Jefferson just made. So now I know that I need to get my wide receiver $10 more than Justin Jefferson. This is a lot of this is based on speculation, hearsay, secondhand info, social media posts.
I'm not sure that's exactly how it works. I think Open Doors, who's the kind of a leader in the NIL space, I think they have, I don't know if they call it the Black Book, but they have a book of values. The schools are not flying blind like you say they are.
They're not flying blind, but they also don't have perfect vision either.
Yeah, but I think, getting back to the point, the players have every right to ask for this money.
Yeah.
The NCAA made $900 million last year off the NCAA tournament. You know where that money goes? It goes to all sorts of places that aren't the players.
I know.
So why the players deserve to get theirs. Now, I think the challenge here is, how do you create a system where it's fair, and I don't love that players keep leaving their teams. If you're a fan, I think you have every right to say, hey, I'm rooting for this guy. He's developing here. He can't just leave the next year. Then what am I cheering for?
Yeah, so part of my transparency idea is, and I think that this kind of happens now, but not all the time, and there's still ways out of it. But if a player can sign a contract, a multiple year contract, it doesn't have to be year to year. It can be, hey, I just signed for 3 years to play at BYU for $8 million, and after year 2, maybe I have an opt out or whatever. But why can't it be basically full on professional now?
Because the teams don't want to do a 3-year contract with a 17-year-old kid.
But you want to keep him in school, so you get to root for him.
The teams want their cake and eat it too. They want the flexibility. Of the current system.
But teams want that too, and that's what the negotiation is. You get to a place where you both can agree on something.
All right, give us a call if you have a solution here, 888-710-4ISN. You can also weigh in on the great debate. Which old athlete do you want to see play in today's game? For example, I picked Will Chamberlain, Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, Dan Marino. Don't, like Manny, don't pick somebody from the 2010s. No, I'm just kidding. He went with Babe Ruth. Okay, we have a sequel bracket.
JJ Redick.
We have an interesting sequel bracket.
Mm-hmm. He played?
Apparently.
Okay. Every year we do a side bracket in addition to the NCAA tournament bracket of something fun. This year we're doing movie sequels. And I'm glad Maggie's on here for this one today because we are doing the Hoth region bracket, and she could not pronounce the word Hoth. She claims to have seen Empire Strikes Back, but she weirdly didn't know any of the plot. We broke it to her, EJ and I, that Darth Vader was Luke's dad. Spoiler alert. I guess we're getting a lot of trouble for that. But we have some very interesting competition here in
How dare you?
In the Hoth region. Let's start off. This is an odd matchup. Star Wars Empire Strikes Back against Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Do you nothing that I say?
Master, moving stones around is one thing. This is totally different.
No different. Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.
Deep there, Bogus. All right, let's go up against Beverly Hills Cop 2. Feels kind of like Baylor playing Duke in this matchup, but let's see what Beverly Hills Cop 2 brings to the table.
What's going on here? Who the hell are you?
Chief, this is...
Shut up, Rosewood! My name is Johnny Wishbone. Johnny Wishbone, and I'm a psychic from the island of St. Croix. Yes, I'm a psychic from the island of St. Croix, and I read in the St. Croix Gazette that the Beverly Hills Police Department having some trouble figuring out crimes. So what I did was come to Beverly Hills to help the police out. They tell me they don't want my help. They don't need my help, so I'm going to go on my merry way. I'm a psychic. I'm a psychic phenomenon. Watch this. I don't know who you are, but watch this. Your name is, Lutz, right? Chief Lutz.
Okay, Beverly Hills Cop 2 against Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. Our next matchup, one of my favorites, and I think a Bogus favorite too, Incredibles 2 takes on Spider-Man 2.
I can't tell you how many memory stickers had to erase over the years when someone figured out your mother's or my identity.
It was Dicker! You told them about Tony.
Honey.
You had me erased from Tony's mind! I hate superheroes, and I renounce them! I renounce them! She having adolescence.
Have you guys seen that movie, Manny and EJ? Have you seen? I know parents have all seen it and appreciate it.
Incredibles 2? Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
I'm only familiar with the first vehicle, unfortunately.
The first Incredibles?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same. Great movie. All right, let's go against Spider-Man 2, which is Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2.
He's making the machine again. When that happens, she'll die along with half of New York. Now, where is he?
Peter, you killed my father.
There are bigger things happening here than me and you. Harry, please, I've got to stop him.
Wow, that was deep. Doc Ock is on a tear right now. I love that movie. Okay.
He's great.
Our next matchup, Too Fast, Too Furious, an 11 seed, goes against Batman Returns.
Let your man go, huh?
Drop it. I don't want to talk about it.
Drop it, hell? I want to hear about this, homie.
I said forget about it, cuz.
Got Fuentes in with Varone. Markham trying to blow our cover. And we got 2 wild cards that are no better than that damn ankle bracelet of mine. I'ma tell you, bruh. You let your man Markham do that shit again in front of Varone, that's gonna be our ass.
Are you sure that wasn't Fast and Furious 4 that you were pulling from?
No, trust me. This is the most famous clip maybe from any of the movies.
I said forget about it, cuz.
Forget about it, cuz. This is definitely Too Fast, Too Furious.
Okay. That goes against Batman Returns. Michael Keaton Batman, right? Batman Returns.
Great speech, Oswald.
My name is not Oswald. It's Penguin. I am not a human being. I am an animal. Cold-blooded. Crank the AC. Where are my lists? Bring me the names. It's time. These are the names of the firstborn sons of Gotham City. Just like I was. And like me, a terrible fate waits for them.
There you go. That's Danny DeVito as the Penguin. I heard a long Danny DeVito story yesterday.
The Jersey Mike's guy?
The Jersey Mike's guy, the Always Sunny in Philadelphia guy, the taxi guy. I heard he once, I'll just tell it real quick, he wanted to smoke a cigar on a plane, and the pilot made him ask everyone on the plane if it was okay. If they all said yes, then he could smoke a cigar, and they all said yes. That's the
How
story.
about that?
That's a fun little Danny DeVito quip.
How
lucky,
recent?
Lucky I was on that plane.
You would have said no.
I would have said hell no.
Oh, EJ.
Penguin.
Yeah.
If Danny DeVito came up to you, though, because that's he's giving you a great story, and you're just sitting with a little cigar smoke.
Take a hike, Danny. Sit here like everyone else.
I'd be happy for that. I would be, of course, Danny DeVito. Thanks for that victory against the Colts, by the way.
Cigars smell terrible, by the way.
I like this. I like cigar smell. I do not like cigarettes. Cigarettes would be tough.
Cigars are tough. I
You-
can't do that.
Wow.
For a long flight, potentially? No. Take a hike.
Cigarette or the other thing that people smoke? What scent would you rather
Crack?
have?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm
really
in
jumped
this
on
seat.
the power rankings there, Bogus.
It's this seat. I'm sorry.
Is there any actor who could come up to you, EJ, and convince you to let him smoke a cigar?
Wow, great question.
Or New York athlete?
Maybe.
Yeah, any Knicks player? Josh Hart.
Yeah,
All Knicks.
All Knicks are good. Well, actually, no.
And guys named Nick,
honestly,
just
I
in
wouldn't-
case.
Knicks,
Ariel
no.
Huckporty? Come on, brother.
No, Knicks is bad for your lungs. You need to stay in shape. Tibbs wouldn't like it. No. Actor, yeah, maybe Robert Downey if he came up.
Okay.
I'd say, all right, yeah, whatever.
Iron Man.
Robert Downey or Precious Achua? You know what?
Oh, you've seen Precious play recently? He's definitely not taking any cigars. Give me a break.
Okay. Our next matchup, Rush Hour 2 versus Aliens.
Throw it, Lee! Where? Lee, throw it! Where? Throw the ball over the edge! Throw it! Throw it! Throw it over the edge!
That's such
No,
a good
there's
one.
people down there! Lee, throw it! Connor! Lee! Connor! Lee! Connor! Throw it! No! We about to die! God.
Okay, get on your feet.
Slow down, Snoopy.
Enough. All right?
Put that down! It's a bomb!
Put that down!
Hey!
Guys, no bomb. Nothing. Now stay away before I throw you both in jail for obstruction.
By the way, Chris Tucker should have been in this bracket twice, but he opted out of next Friday. I don't know why.
Think to do this movie. I think that's
He
why.
was doing Rush Hour 2?
I think that's why. I think that's the story.
Had he already blown up? I can't remember the timing of Friday was his first big
Well, I
movie.
think it was Rush Hour 1 was the movie that he did.
Yeah.
That was why he wasn't in Friday.
And then how long decades he disappeared. How long did he go away?
A while.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I know he was in Silver Line.
I saw him pop up randomly in a celebrity all-star game for the NBA, and I was like, hey, Chris Tucker.
By the way,
I was like in 2012, though.
No woman has looked better in a movie than Rosalind Sanchez in Rush Hour 2.
Okay. Take your word for it.
Take your word for it. Have you never seen this movie?
Yeah.
I don't remember which one is 1, 2, or 3.
You don't remember Rosalind Sanchez in Rush Hour? Come on, bro.
Slow down, Snoopy. Snoopy tattoo?
He's sending me Sydney Sweeney tweets, and now I'm giving him Rosalind Sanchez, and I got nothing.
Aliens. I can tell you about Sigourney Weaver.
Ripley, it was a bad call.
Bad call.
Right.
These people are dead, Burke! Don't you have any idea what you've done here?
Well, I'm gonna make sure that they nail you right to the wall for this. You're not gonna sleaze your way out of this one. Right to the wall.
Ripley, I expected more from you. I thought you'd be smarter than this.
I'm happy to disappoint you.
All right, that's a strong number 2 seed Aliens taking on Rush Hour 2. You can vote on the Maggie and Pearl X feed, the Hoth region. Any upsets brewing here, Bogus?
I mean, personally, I'd have to vote for Incredibles 2 as the 12 seed to pull off an upset.
Over Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
Well, I think the issue with Spider-Man 2 is there's a stronger Spider-Man sequel in the field. Spider-Man Far From Home.
Fair.
Far From Home is the one that made it, right? Tom Holland?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think, and same with Batman. Dark Knight, of course, is a stronger sequel than Batman Returns. So that's interesting. I think Too Fast, Too Furious has a chance. Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. Beverly Hills Cop 2, bit of a fall off from Beverly Hills Cop 1, as I recall. Although it's been a long time.
And then you have the Rosalind Sanchez effect for that 7-seeded Rush Hour 2.
Well, yeah.
Making life tough for aliens.
Wait, what?
Exactly.
Oh, but were there aliens in Rush Hour 2? I don't remember that part of the plot. You're talking about
that's Rush Hour 3.
Okay. What year was Rush Hour 2? Feels like
2003, I think.
2002, 2003. I was
2001.
Close
so it was 24 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah, I see the Rush Hour movies on cable, but honestly, like they've all melded because they play all the time. They all meld into each other.
Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it? You can be absolutely ripped and know which one you're watching. The same one.
I watched Rush Hour 1 the other day. It is definitely the least offensive of the Rush Hour movies.
Oh, did they sort of?
It has its offensive jokes, but the Rush Hour 2 clip is insane.
EJ has told me that he and his friends, well, obviously he abstains, EJ, but EJ and his friends have a drinking game when it comes to watching the Rush Hour trilogy.
Yes,
And what's that?
Anytime there's a problematic line reference, you got to take a drink.
Yeah, because that was famously Brett Ratner directed those, and he's quite a problematic figure.
Exactly.
Very successful figure. You a Rush Hour fan, Bogues?
I was just about to say I don't think I've seen a second of that movie on purpose.
What?
Shut
Yeah.
up. I don't. That's so un-American.
Is it?
Yes.
How was Godfather?
I heard it was all right.
Okay.
I've heard good things.
I'm not saying Rush Hour is good or bad, but I've probably seen part of it just because it was on TV and I stopped on it. But I have never seen any of them start to finish because they wanted to watch them.
Weren't you in college and these movies were out?
I was in college in 2001. Yeah,
Exactly.
Sure.
So you didn't have friends and went to go watch a movie?
I had some friends, but we didn't go see Rush Hour.
Go out, get a little inebriated and watch a comedy?
No.
You guys are weird.
Yeah, that's fine.
This feels like it would have been a very college movie. Like if I was college age, I feel like this would have been the movie. I was in middle school, and it was the movie.
Yeah, no, sorry. Or if I did see it in 2001, whatever, I don't remember it.
This guy stinks.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like,
nothing matters.
There's some other heavyweights in this bracket here. It's you guys are making it sound like Rush Hour is the Casablanca. I mean,
It's the best trilogy of films in cinematic history.
So that's not true.
I mean, if Spider-Man 2 probably made $6 billion or something in this. There are bigger. Rush Hour made a lot of money, popular movie. But there's some heavyweights. We're in the Sweet 16.
Right,
Are we
but
at 32?
Spider-Man 3
32
Spider-Man 3 by itself just, it curses at the entire trilogy. The Rush Hour trilogy is gold from start to finish. Spider-Man 3 stinks.
Heard 3 is kind of terrible.
What, Rush Hour 3?
Rush Hour 3.
No, but Spider-Man 3 is awful.
That's true, too.
Maggie, if you're out there listening, please come back tomorrow.
What's wrong with me?
Forget about it.
No, I think we need 3 against 2. We're playing zone.
Okay, well, get Gordon in here.
Actually, I don't know. Maggie would probably just fold on this one, too, because I don't think she knows the Rush Hour movies either. But
So you don't know how do you not know the Rush Hour movies?
I don't know. They're on all the time. I didn't
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you should have watched them.
But there's a lot of these sequel brackets where all the movies blend into each other. Like, honestly, I don't know the plots of one compared to the other. You say a movie, and I'm like, what happened in Beverly Hills Cop 2? I don't remember which one was 2 and which one was 3. So, and I mean that as in a negative way. I don't think that Rush Hour 2 and Rush Hour 3 are that different. Do you?
Well, I haven't really seen 3, so I can't give you that. 1 and 2... 2 is basically like, oh, you like Rush Hour? Let's give you all of the most outlandish things about 1 and just do that for 2 hours.
Well, we'll see how it does in the voting. You can go vote, of course, at Maggie and Pearl on X. All right, coming up next, we got to get back into football. Russell Wilson is a Giant, but are the Giants done, or will they make another splash move this offseason? That's next, Maggie and Perloff Show.
So forget about it, cuz.
All right, Bogush, I am having a wonderful morning because I did great in prize picks last night.
That explains it.
Yeah, I rode the NBA. I am on a winning streak. Thank you. Oh, my gosh, I'm going back several days of college basketball and NBA success. And the best place to cash in on your favorite sports, over 10 million members, billions of dollars in award winnings, that's Prize Picks. It's made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. So simple to use. You pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projection, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. It's the best time of year, too, because you have hockey, you have E-games.
You got baseball on Thursday.
You got baseball coming up. You still got soccer going on. Don't miss your chance to cash in as all these sports come to a head. Personally, NBA, very interesting right now. You got to be smart at the end of the season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Download the app today and use the code MNP to get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. That's code MNP on Prize Picks to get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. Win or lose, you get the $50 bonus credit for just playing. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. Great debate Wednesday. Which athlete from the past would you like to see compete in today's game? I went with Wilt. Bogus went with Dan Marino. Manny went with Babe Ruth.
I had Willie Mays. EJ had Dan Marino.
Sorry, EJ had Dan Marino. Gordon Damer had Michael Jordan, so he could settle the Jordan LeBron debate, which was clever. No one wanted to go Dr. J. Can you imagine what his game would be like? See an old highlight from the ABA or from really early Sixers. There were no athletes like Dr. J with the long arms and the jumping ability. I think he would have adjusted very well to today's game. Would have liked to seen that. Of course, I didn't want to go Sixers heavy. I was going to give you Andrew Toney, the Boston Strangler.
Oh, sure.
Nice.
Who?
Yeah.
Of course.
Don't worry. Okay.
That one I'll allow.
All right. Brad in Oregon has another guy, one of my former boss's favorite players of all time. Old-timey player you'd like to see play today. Brad, who do you got?
Yeah, with the three-point line in there, guys, I would love to have seen how his game and his stats and numbers would have matched up with Pistol Pete Maravich.
I think Pistol Pete, when this topic comes up, is a popular choice because he plays like a modern player. All offense, all gas. Do you think he would have been able to dominate like he used to?
Well, with the three-point line in there, I think he would have had to have been respected, and just what he did. And back in the old day, I would have loved to have seen up and down the court the hustle that he had and everything. I think his game would have really fit in with what they do in the NBA now.
Pete Maravich, thank you, Brad. Pete Maravich in college at LSU averaged, for anyone who doesn't know, 43.8 points his first year, 44.2, and 44.5.
Is that good?
With no three-point line. No three-point line.
That's crazy, dude.
I mean, why did you box and one in this dude? What are they doing here?
Maybe we should playing against plumbers and firemen. That's why.
And actually, I don't think his team. Maybe Gordon, you know this. Gordon Damer is in doing updates. Did he make the tournament? I think did. He make it once?
I don't think he did.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean the tournament was smaller then. This was in the 60s.
Yeah, those LSU teams were notoriously very mid,
which is funny.
And his dad was coaching.
Then later on, Ben Simmons, of course, went to LSU.
And they were still mid.
And actually, I don't even think the Shaq Stanley Roberts team, did they make an Elite Eight?
Elite Eight, maybe an Elite Eight, but they didn't make a Final Four.
They do. It does seem like it's when Chris Jackson, former Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, went there. I think it's a school where people disappoint tournament-wise. Then again, and Maggie's not here to defend this, I don't care if you make the tournament. That does not mean to me that you're not going to be good in the NBA.
No, we all agree with you.
Yeah.
That is a purely Maggie.
She does bring up Markelle Fultz, which is it's kind of an argument stopper.
How dare you?
And
Close
Ben
to
Simmons.
home.
And Ben Simmons.
Two guys in the history of the NBA.
How dare you?
Dylan Harper, of course, will be the next. Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey out of Rutgers. I think everybody wants those guys, especially to me, Harper.
Maggie.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Rutgers was not great this year. I don't quite know why. But you got to go down a list and tell Maggie next time we do this argument, EJ.
I feel like I do it every
all the
time.
guys.
I always start with
Haterade
Anthony,
is what you guys are drinking.
I always start with Anthony Edwards, and then she says, "Well, he was on a team that didn't have another NBA guy."
Haters.
Yeah, she said.
I mentioned Damian Lillard. I mentioned Klay Thompson. Like Klay Thompson's won how many championships? 4.
People like me.
She says though Georgia is not a basketball school.
Like Rutgers is is Penn State. Like, what are we talking about?
Wait, Penn State's not the right one there. Rutgers is.
I was going geographical. That's closest to power football school.
Okay, yeah, because Penn State's not a good basketball school. No, Maggie's wrong on this one, and we can say that, but she's not here. But I think she'll be back tomorrow to defend her take. And hey, listen, Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey could be total busts. I have no idea, but I think her thinking is wrong on that one. All right, let's go to Gordon Damer. Gordon, of course, you weren't here when Maggie does all that. What's your take? Do you think that just because Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey did not get to the tournament, you downgrade them in the draft?
No, not at all. I don't think so. I'm not. I'll be honest with you. I am not the biggest college. I only like college basketball when everybody's betting on it. Like I'm like most of America. Like once the tournament starts, then I'm fully engaged. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, like unlike most of our industry, nobody admits that. We all feel that way, but you're not supposed to admit that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, not me.
Letting you behind the curtain here. Maybe I've shared too much.
I do think I don't think there's shame in admitting that you are making a crash course in college basketball in this industry. A lot of guys do. I mean, Charles Barkley's on the damn analysis.
If it works for him, right?
It is because. Well, listen, he's
an idiot and a fool.
And EJ, I know you're a big college basketball fan, but there's no way you can watch nationwide all these conferences play. There's just a lot going on.
That's a good question.
Now, Charles is particularly.
He doesn't watch games while he's sitting on the dais to talk about the games. So.
I'm not sure he watches games when he's at a game.
I was paying attention to the Bryant score. So get at the Clark or Kenneth, please.
I'd love it. All right, Gordon, let's have some real sports updates.
But they do have some big old women.
They do. All right, so they tried to get Matthew Stafford, didn't go. Met with Aaron Rodgers, that didn't work. So the Giants looking for a QB, got one yesterday. Russell Wilson headed to New York, 1 year, $10.5 million guaranteed. Wilson, a 10-time Pro Bowler, turns 37 in November. Clearly an upgrade over what the Giants had last year. 11 games in Pittsburgh. Wilson put up almost 2,500 yards, 63% passing, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He has never lost a game at MetLife Stadium. 4-0 in his career. Now, he was playing the Jets and the Giants a lot of times, so that might be why. But he did win his Super Bowl at MetLife.
That might be the most meaningless stat of all time.
Of course.
It was 12 years ago, but it counts.
I had an hour to find these meaningless stats, so I wanted to use it. 2014, of course, beat Denver. So where does this leave the Steelers? They've now lost both of their quarterbacks. It does.
Factually correct.
And this is going to be almost as enlightening. Ian Rappaport says that if Aaron Rodgers plays in 2025, it will be for Pittsburgh.
Oh, there you go.
I'm reporting that as well. Can I do this?
Yeah.
Or he could retire. I know this is going to shock everybody.
So, but by the way, what if there's an injury or what if something comes up? What if he waits?
Well, he could very well be waiting out Minnesota. It seemed like that was where he wanted to go, but they had no interest in him.
Well, Rap Sheet's saying it's done. It's Pittsburgh or bust.
No, he said if he plays, it would be for Pittsburgh. But much like you were talking about in the last hour with Adam Schefter and his draft predictions, these things can change over time. Nobody's going to remember in a month from now.
I saw a headline the other day. Aaron Rodgers is a terrible cultural fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know, EJ, you probably agree with this after what he did with the Jets, saying that he's too much of a locker room problem. My only exception to that is you have a lot of veterans there. You have a established coach. Feels like Mike Tomlin's dealt with a lot of characters before. I don't think culture would be the problem. If Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I think he'd be fine. I'm not sure I agree with. Is he really going to be able? That's a strong.
Where would he be a culture helper?
Well, I mean, you have Mike Tomlin and you have T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith and a bunch of veterans. Mm-hmm. Is he really going to completely blow up that team like he seemed to do with the Jets? I just don't think there's that much of a risk of that.
No, I don't think so either. And look, he might be a problem anywhere, but if you were going to lessen that, you would think going to an established team that has a history of some success. I mean, went to the playoffs this year. You would think it would be minimized there.
Well, I think maybe that people think, oh, he's this sort of new age, hippie, California,
well, I don't
ayahuasca.
think he's a good fit.
Yeah, it doesn't fit a
but I don't think
quote unquote blue collar
talent.
Yeah, but you know what? Aaron Rodgers is from Chico, California. I don't think personality wise he'd have a problem in Pittsburgh personally. But I mean, I think he'll get there, and the question is, will he wear out his welcome like he has other places?
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
But if he's healthy and his leg is healed, I mean, what's your other option, Manny? What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Manny Rodriguez?
Retire, call it quits, hang up the cleats, and go trip on ayahuasca in Costa Rica or something.
Yeah, that's what.
I mean, what options do the Steelers really have? This is the second year in a row that they have completely overturned their quarterback room.
They have no other options.
Yeah,
they have Mason Rudolph. They have Joe Flacco as a possibility. They have drafting a guy at 21.
You had Mason Rudolph. You let him go, and then you brought him back.
I don't hate Joe Flacco there.
Joe Flacco?
Joe Flacco, that's a guy who fits Pittsburgh in a way. AFC North experience. If you're just waiting, if you don't get Aaron Rodgers, you could draft somebody at 21 and then get Flacco and just let him play the first 8 games.
And since Mike Tomlin has the very much warranted lifetime contract, they have the ability to be patient here. They don't find their quarterback in the draft. They can just try again the year after that, while Coach Tomlin's there, rightfully so.
Is that forever. Sarcasm there?
It feels like it.
Well, what are you supposed to do? They can't get in the top 10 because they're too good under Mike Tomlin.
I know. That's the problem of living in the middle. At some point, you have to go all the way down to the studs.
He didn't urinate down his leg, man. That's a great place to begin.
Yeah.
So, I know, but this is confusing. Mike Tomlin, his biggest credit is he always finds a way to win football games, to have a winning record. But you're saying that is now the most important fault for Mike Tomlin.
Well, what I'm saying is, from the outside, we go, oh, man, Mike Tomlin always rescues a season. In Pittsburgh, they started crappily because of Mike Tomlin, and then they rally. They win, not in spite of him, but he's part of the losing, too. And then the winning makes it look a little bit better. That's why there's so many people who want him out, is because they're tired of this pathway to like flirting with 500 and just getting in, but not really being a true contender.
Yeah, no, you're not lying. We found that out the other day when Steelers Depot X feed accidentally said Maggie, quoted Maggie saying Mike Tomlin deserves a lifetime contract, and the entire city of Pittsburgh rose up against her.
Did they respond, by the way?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I follow Steelers Depot, but of course it was me. I never said he earned a lifetime contract. I think he has a lifetime contract. I just can't picture the Rooneys walking to a room and saying, Mike Tomlin, you're fired. It just doesn't feel like the Rooneys to me, but maybe I'm wrong. The other thing, too, if they get Aaron Rodgers and he's healthy and they win 10 games, it's same old, same old. Mike Tomlin's back.
I don't fear sudden death.
All right, what else you got, Gordon?
Patriots went after Chris Godwin, tried to get DK Metcalf. Instead, they land Stefon Diggs, a 3-year contract, $26 million for him guaranteed. Pats, the fewest receiving yards of any team in the NFL last year. NBA, bad news for the Bucks. Damian Lillard already out with a calf strain, diagnosed with a blood clot in his calf, so he is out indefinitely. Right now, the Bucks, 11 games left in the regular season. They're sitting 5th in the East, half a game ahead of the Pistons.
Wow, Lillard 34. I just don't see this guy getting a ring.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening for him, which is unfortunate. But he wanted to not escape the grind of Portland, and now this is what happened to him.
I mean, that being said, you can understand this move for him. I mean, I don't think he was winning a title in Portland either.
No, that's my point. My thing is that he stayed in Portland too long. Like he was the guy that was like, "Oh, I'm not going to run from the grind," and he didn't run from the grind. And he watched that team become a joke. And then by the time he got traded, it was too late in his career. Now he's had injuries. He got injured last year in the playoffs. He's going to be injured again now. Like it's unfortunate, but this is the kind of the hand he dealt himself.
Maybe does a Gary Payton get a ring with the Heat kind of thing? Remember,
that's what he needs. He's going to have to do that. He's going to have to play on some random team and jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, maybe the Knicks. Gordon, anything else?
Jimmy Butler back in Miami last night. First time since the trade. Heat cruised 112-86.
Oh, man. I was so ready to back the Warriors as my dark horse Cinderella NBA team.
If it's just Steph Curry's bruised butt, that's going to go away, and they'll be back to where you want them to be.
Excuse me?
Something EJ said last night on our call. You forget that these old guys wear down in the playoffs. You just LeBron, Steph Curry. There was a point about a month ago where they were just on fire. I just don't trust that they're going to be healthy through 4 rounds of the playoffs.
I hear you. And also, when you guys were talking about before about playoff positioning and maybe you should be in the play-in so you avoid somebody early. But I'm thinking, like, or do you want to play the toughest team when you're the freshest? Like, if they're going to have to play the Thunder, the Warriors, do you want it in round 1 when you're at your best, not in round 3 when you've been worn down through, like, 11 playoff games already?
How'd that work out for the Lakers last year?
I don't recall.
I think
they got bounced out of the first round, right?
Yeah, they got destroyed by Denver.
Right,
everyone's going to say Denver's your nemesis. You're going to have to face them at some point anyway, and they got totally blown out.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I don't think and also the West is so crazy. I mean, I'm wearing a T-Wolves hat today because they're good again. It's incredible.
I saw that. Very random.
Yeah, I know.
They're actually in the slump right now too.
Aren't they?
They've lost like 3 of their last 4.
I thought when Julius Randle came back that they were dangerous.
They had a long winning streak, and now they think they've lost 3 or 4 or 4 or 5 since then.
I just happen to have this hat, and I like
very
the way
shiny.
Yeah. But it's I don't know. I kind of like the way it fits. Sorry, I guess there's a lot of critics here today.
It's fine. I like
it. I didn't dislike the hat. I was just trying to break your heart over the surging T-Wolves. I don't think they're hot right now.
Listen, you're just mad because I sent you half-naked pictures last night.
I'm not mad about that, baby.
You sent him what now?
Yeah, I sent him a picture.
Thanks, Barstool.
Yeah, a picture of Sydney Sweeney that was quite
Sydney
revealing.
Sweeney.
Your next girlfriend, Manny.
Yeah, you're damn right.
I still can't believe you said I'll change your life.
I will. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, for the worse.
For the worse, for the better, I changed her life.
You're worse, her better. No, the other way around. You're better, her worse.
The way you said it originally is correct. Thank you, Andrew.
Hold on, one more segment, and if we haven't lost you yet, just wait for me to defend Zach Wilson at the end of the hour.
Excuse me?
That's coming up next. Maggie and Perloff Show.
Gabagool.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Andrew Bogus sitting in for Maggie. We have sort of a long-standing argument on the show between me and all Jets fans, a couple on the staff. I think that you cannot underestimate how much the Jets bring down a quarterback, and that applies to all of them, including Zach Wilson, who was, I'll agree, terrible in New York. I do not think this man's career is over, and there are other people who agree with me, including, I think Sean Payton said some nice things about him. But apparently Zach Wilson, the former BYU and former Jets number 2 overall pick, thinks he's got a little more left in the tank.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to view it differently. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with being a journeyman, but I still believe I can be a starter in this league whenever that opportunity comes. And so I'm just trying to put myself in the best situation with the best team and coaches and do the absolute best that I can. And then, hopefully at some point you can get that opportunity to show what you can do.
So it sounds ridiculous. He was awful with the Jets, but Geno Smith was way worse with the Jets than Zach Wilson. But
he wasn't a second pick.
He was right. Okay, but there was a lot of expectations. I'm looking at some of Geno's numbers in New York. They were really, really bad. And also Geno, I think you saw the talent in New York, but I thought that was a case of the Jets ruining a quarterback. Sam Darnold clearly was ruined there. You might not love him, but there's no way he was as bad with the Jets. He threw 35 touchdowns last year. My point is Jets fans never, ever would have said, I think Geno's got a second act or Sam Darnold's got a second act. So it's not impossible to me that Zach Wilson has a second act as well.
Also, and I'm going to hold hands and defend him here with you as well. What else is he supposed to say? I don't understand why we still get worked up about these kind of comments. Get back to him when a guy goes, you know what, guys? I'm pretty terrible. I'm not really sure why the Dolphins signed me. Zach Wilson should think that Zach Wilson can still be a starter in the NFL. Yeah. If he didn't, that would be the headlines. I know it's easy to dunk on this sentence, but this is what you're supposed to think. You're supposed to think that you can start. You're supposed to think you can throw 25 touchdowns or score 30 points a game. You're supposed to believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. Even if it's as irrational as possible, you're supposed to believe in yourself. So he should be saying this. It might never happen, but he should believe it.
Will?
Yeah.
Okay, so EJ, why in your mind, and I know how you feel about this, you're laughing at the whole topic, how come Zach Wilson couldn't pull a Sam Darnold or a Geno Smith?
I think because there's an aspect of Zach Wilson that I've seen watching him play, and I would disagree that he was way better than Geno Smith. Their QB ratings are exactly the same as the Jets quarterback. So, okay. Geno may have won just about as much, but he's just not good. And I'm sorry, I know I know it sounds like it's very simple, but what I saw with Zach Wilson, my problem with him was it seemed like there was this people were enamored with the idea that, he can run left and throw the ball 50 yards. He can do this and that. But I saw a guy who was very inaccurate on very basic passes. I saw a guy at one point, it seemed like he had the yips. I seen a guy who also seems like he can't read a defense. So if you're telling me that he's going to go somewhere and learn how to do those things, and that's one thing. But I think with Sam Darnold, I saw a guy who, when he played well, looked really good. I can't point to you the 4 or 5 games where Zach Wilson was lighting the world up. I was like, oh man, we got something here. The whole time he was as a Jet, it was, man, I hope this is going to get better at some point because we're not seeing a lot. I'm sorry. I don't know if he has any 300-yard games, and maybe there are only a couple. He's not someone who was lighting the world on fire here when he was here. I just feel like as a guy who watched every snap, I don't see the talent. I just don't.
Well, I feel like you're doing a little revisionist on Sam Darnold. Maybe it's more Maggie. Maggie thought Sam Darnold was an absolute
that's a Maggie
joke.
thing. I actually thought Sam Darnold in his rookie year was pretty good.
How about when Zach Wilson, he had some wins. I mean, he beat Buffalo in primetime the game Rodgers went down.
Right. He had his numbers in that game?
Some moments. He had a couple moments. He'd make a throw or two. His problem is utter lack of consistency. Sean Payton said it. I was reading some of Sean Payton quotes when he was in Denver's camp last year. It's like, this kid has a tremendous arm. He just has to find a way to be consistent.
And yet, Sean Payton saw him and said, you're third string, you're barely going to dress, and as soon as your contract's up, get the hell out of here. What is that? I mean, I don't, those quotes mean nothing to me.
Well, you have Bo Nix. You're not going to build around Zach Wilson.
But don't forget, they began with there's 3 QBs competing, and Zach Wilson it became a 2-person thing in about 90 minutes.
Yes. They immediately took him out of that competition.
It was Stidham, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they needed they had Bo Nix. He was going to be the one. And they needed Stidham to be an option because Stidham had a lot of experience, a lot of starts under his belt.
But Zach Wilson has a lot of starts on his belt now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but Stidham has real... I don't know. I feel like there were different levels. Peyton... I think was looking at Jared Stidham like, I might need this guy to start for me. I have to build him up.
I'm not arguing the fact there's a third guy there. I'm just reminding you how the storyline out of Denver went, that this was 3 guys on equal footing, and then after like 2 practices, they're like, never mind on Zach. This is now about Bo and Stidham.
Yeah, you're probably right. But
Jared Stidham has 4 career starts. You want to know how many starts Zach Wilson has?
Double digits, right?
Yeah.
5.
If Zach Wilson started 2 full seasons, basically, he has 33 career starts.
But the entire NFL was looking at Jared Stidham as a potential bridge quarterback. Nobody was looking at Zach Wilson coming
Which
off
is my
New York.
point. He stinks.
It's not over yet. Oh, man, I'm hoping 5 years Zach Wilson has a good game so I can rub it in your face. Sometime within 5 years, because you got me on Jalen Hurts today. All right, hopefully Maggie's back tomorrow. Maggie and Perloff Show. Thanks, everyone, for filling in the meantime. Talk to you tomorrow.
Go over here.